course, we get to Taco Bell crunch time. Brett, Friday night, I stayed up, watched the news. I thought my house was about to come down there for a while, and I really am praying for the people affected. I know there were some people affected in our local area, and most of the people affected, there was a Amazon plant in Edwardsville, Illinois, very close to where I'm from in St. Louis, which got torn down, and there were some casualties there. And then, of course, in western Kentucky and parts of central Kentucky, just damage everywhere. Prayers to everyone affected, because that was some scary stuff.
It was, and it was just how random and lucky you were that it didn't go over you, and unfortunately for the unlucky, devastating, just devastating, and defenseless to it. You can't do anything but hunker down and get low and try to ride it out, and so many people were unable to, and so much damage and destruction in over 4 states.
Right. I heard the final number, 18 tornadoes touched down, is what I saw.
And that photo from northeast Arkansas of 2 of them right by each other started in southwest of Little Rock, almost Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and just kept fueling all the way, really until it got into the Appalachians.
Mm-hmm. And I had a bunch of branches down in my neighborhood. I know a lot of people lost power. Some people here in Memphis didn't get their power back until yesterday. I think most of that has been solved by now, but that was terrifying over the weekend. Watching the news, sort of seeing what was going. I know they were about to, at least on Fox 13 when I was watching, they were about to take cover right there in the studio. They were right in sort of the line of where all that rotation was happening.
Came over Midtown, sure did, and that area. A friend of mine lost power, electricity, well into the next morning, and a lot of people did, and it was, and the crews that were out restoring, they were out there fast, and they really have that down. They can get it back up pretty fast, but it was just so much so much outage.
How was it out by you?
I made it through just fine. It was really more northeast of me in Arkansas, kind of in Jonesboro and toward the Missouri Boot Hill, but it was rough stuff Friday night. And you just knew, every time you went outside Friday afternoon, you just had that icky feeling that it's just not supposed to feel like this time of year.
Right. And it's just sort of the cold front, warm front all sort of coming together. It's always going to be pretty nasty. But we got into some good weather today. For the early part of the week should be nice. If you want to text the show, AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. We have a new Heisman winner. Bryce Young wins the Heisman. Now that it's over, are you able to share who you voted for?
Sure. I voted Bryce Young 1, Matt Corral 2, Will Anderson 3.
Okay. Will Anderson ends up right on the outside looking in. The one surprise, and I don't usually try to get into the balloting and try to lose my mind over who got second, third, fourth. You have a winner, and it was Bryce Young. Aiden Hutchinson at second just doesn't do it for me personally.
Tells me now, Gabe, that if not far, maybe not even far that drive to win the Iron Bowl, if not far that bellwether, stupendous game in the SEC championship game, I'm not going to say the media was about to do it again, but here comes the groundswell for Aiden Hutchinson.
Right.
Very similar to the year that Charles Woodson walked through and won it.
Mm-hmm. And Matt Corral could have very well been a finalist. I don't think a lot of people would have complained about that around the country. They know what Matt Corral meant to Ole Miss.
But also no complaints that he wasn't.
Aiden Hutchinson getting the second most first-place votes is so bizarre to me. Now, granted, we're talking about 78 first-place votes as opposed to Bryce Young's 684. So it was an absolute runaway. But I didn't think Aiden Hutchinson would come close to being second. I thought Kenny Pickett would probably get that, and then C.J. Stroud, Aiden Hutchinson sort of battle it out for 3 and 4. But it didn't
never
end up
entered
that
my
way.
mind to vote for Aiden Hutchinson.
No.
Never entered my mind.
Hey,
the tough one for me was what to do with Kenny Pickett. And, Gabe, I kept coming back to losing to Western Michigan. Yeah, I know the numbers are big, and the winning was big. He was champion of the ACC, But I'm with you. It's almost like the college football and basketball poll. I love to hear the guy. We shouldn't be 21. We should really be 19. You're going to find it out over that, really?
Exactly. It's not even worth it. But I look at what Bryce Young. He was also the AP All-America first-team quarterback. The AP All-American team was released today.
He went out and won it.
Yeah, he
Did
really.
you know Sam Williams'
now he's
statistical numbers were better than Aiden Hutchinson? N'Kobe
Really?
Dean's were better. Will Anderson's were better.
What did Sam Williams end up with sacks? A little under Aiden Hutchinson? Because if we're being honest, Brett, I was surprised Aiden Hutchinson was a finalist when they announced him as a finalist. I thought Will Anderson by far had a better year. But I guess with Michigan, you're hanging your hat on defense, and he did show up in the big games. I talked about that sort of Heisman moment thought behind Aiden Hutchinson. But when they announced him as a finalist, it threw me off a little bit.
But what if Bryce Young doesn't engineer that 97-yard drive, and they limp into the SEC championship game and get beat by 13, get beat,
There's no, that's a
31-17 by 14. Who would have stepped up? Who would have gotten that publicity?
That's a great question.
Bryce Young saved the Heisman.
I'll say this. I don't think it ends up where we would have the second-place guy as the first. I don't think Aiden Hutchinson would have won by any stretch of the imagination, but who is the guy that they would have latched onto without Bryce Young being the obvious runaway? Would it
Wasn't going to be Matt Corral.
Kenny Pickett, possibly for winning the ACC championship.
And again, I come back to losing to Western Michigan.
Mm-hmm. And then, but Bryce Young,
team sport.
Yes, Bryce Young has a chance, and we've talked about it. He has a chance to really put himself in Alabama lore and in the history of Bama. We're talking about great quarterbacks. We're talking about a lot of good quarterbacks over the years, a lot of championship-winning quarterbacks, but first Heisman quarterback from Alabama. And he has a chance next year to in all likelihood, I know we don't have repeats. We do. We only have one. Archie Griffin's the only one who's won 2 Heisman. But I think when you look at Bryce Young's chances going into next year, especially if they sort of finish this off, play well in the college football playoff, possibly win a national championship, he'll be right up there to start the year.
Some thought that Matt Leinart might. Some thought that Tim Tebow might repeat, but they didn't. Johnny Manziel. Some thought that he could. He had a good year the year after he won the Heisman, but not deserving of the Heisman. Some thought Jameis Winston might win 2 or 3. He only got the 1 after his freshman year.
Yep, and then also around the country, all of these transfers, Brett. I mean, it is insane. Quinn Ewers ends up, obviously, the talented freshman who has not played a snap of college football.
Smartest man in the world.
Who ended up at Ohio State with a seven-figure deal, $1 million deal for NIL. He ends up transferring straight to Texas, where he's from. So that works out for him.
Never got hit a time this year.
But listen to these names. Bo Nix, Tank Bigsby, both from Auburn. So Brian Harsin, he better get together quick because those are 2 huge names getting in the transfer portal. Keaton Slovis from USC, Zach Calzada from Texas A&M. All in the transfer portal over the weekend. Now,
if you're a coach, I know it's filling holes, but if you're a coach just out there, who do you think's the best player among that group you just rattled off?
Let's
go get this guy, and he makes us really good next year.
Depending on the situation, you talking about from a quarterback standpoint, or I'll pick Tank Bigsby then. Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby's mine.
Yes.
Tank Bigsby's exactly mine.
If Bo Nix had correct coaching this whole time in college, you could make a case for him. He's one. You look at
the good Bo's real good.
The quarterbacks that have gotten into the transfer portal, and I'm even counting Quinn Ewers in this. Bo Nix has the most physical attributes to be able to be a good quarterback, but it just never was really drilled into his head how it should have.
Oh, it's been some coaching malpractice for him. Now it sounds like that Gus Malzahn and UCF's the real leader for him for next year. I know tonight on Monday Night Football we'll have our pick and we'll have our preview at 5:30. We'll talk a lot of NFL today. But Brett Northworthy here for FanDuel, the end of the NFL regular season. It's fast approaching, and this week's Thursday night's game. Tonight's good, but Thursday night gives us a big divisional matchup between rivals, Chiefs and the Chargers. That screams the old AFL. Take the over anytime the OAFL gets together. FanDuel Sportsbook's about to make Thursday night even bigger because FanDuel's giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Money line spread, touchdown scored. I love Justin Herbert in this game. I like Patrick Mahomes in this game, both of them to go over their passing yards numbers. And like I said, the game itself to go over. FanDuel, sports betting made simple. And they're always hooking you up with great offers. Number one sports book in the country. And there's a reason why. It's easy to use, safe and secure. There's a million reasons why. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. If you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with $50 when you refer a friend, plus your pal gets $50 as well. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's number one sportsbook. Sign up with promo code CASH before Thursday night. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code CASH. Exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and older. Present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. As Gabe said to start this show, this hour brought to you proudly, and we appreciate them every day, by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. That's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Merry Christmas from Lexus of Memphis. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Top story of the day is the high point of this weekend on Saturday. Most people I've seen in FedEx Forum this entire year for Tigers or Grizzlies. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Not just the game. We'll talk about the game. 113-106 Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks gets out of protocol, drops 25. Zaire, Brandon Clark, Jaron were out. So you got looks at others. Killian Tilly came to play. Grizzlies have won 7 of 8. They're 16-11. They're 4th in the West. Tonight they play the Sixers in FedEx Forum. But it was beyond the game on Saturday night. Seeing Zach Randolph get his jersey retired, that was why everybody came. Everyone stayed in their seats. It was awesome to see him in his throne, to see all of the messages that people were giving him. Marc Gasol was in town. Everyone was traveling to come see Zebo get his jersey retired. There's messages from Tom Izzo, Lionel Hollins, Matt Barnes. You name them, they had a message for him. Reliving memories. Talk about Game 6 in 2011, closing out the Spurs. He deserves it. And I think in a lot of ways, it's rare to have a city embrace you. You've seen people get embraced by the city as far as sports figures are concerned. But I think it's even more rare to have someone embrace the city right back. And Zach Randolph certainly did that. And he's a big part of this community, and it was great to see him get his just due on Saturday night.
Very well said, Gabe. He was great for us, and I think Memphis was great for him. Very well said, Gabe. My top story, I thought the Tigers would lose 4 times during this 21-22 season. I just didn't think all 4 would be in the 21 portion of the season. And sadly, there are more losses on the way, maybe a lot more. Unfortunately, Tigers hired a coach that was a high school basketball coach, and it's looking like it. How did we think it would be any different? Why did we expect it to be any different? Well, I thought just flood the zone with so many players that it couldn't go wrong. And in a real meritocracy, some of the people that were instrumental in the coup, some of them dating back to all but personally vetoing Scott Drew being hired when Josh Pastner was hired. If we lived in a real meritocracy, they would have some explaining to do. But unfortunately we don't. We just roll through the times. We forget very easily. And so many people, it's widespread, so many people want to be liked and want to be Captain Memphis and wave the flag and ignore when things are bad. I'm not going to do that. And I think the truth is going to set us free if we'll tell it.
And that leads me to my
Not top story of the day.
Friday, fourth straight loss for the Tigers, 74-72, lost to Murray State. Now, I think Murray State's a fine team. By no stretch of the imagination should the Tigers be losing to them. There's really no excuse. Now, granted, they shot really well from three, especially down the stretch, 14 for 29 from three. They did their part. But the Tigers didn't make it all that hard. And in my opinion, Penny didn't make it all that hard. He puts on groups for 3 minutes at a time and then does these huge, overwhelming changes. You started the game with Alex Lomax and Tyler Harris on the floor. We've learned over the years. They've been here before. They've played on the court before. We've learned that those lineups don't work. Yet you started with it and you tried to finish with it. And it brings me back to what he said after the Ole Miss game, obviously blaming a lot of his players, his vet players, and everything else. He said, if we play who cares, we'd be undefeated. Well, you started with Tyler and you started with Alex Lomax. You only gave Josh Minot 6 minutes. You sort of sat down some of those vets that you thought were contributing to problems within the locker room. So it seems like you tried to play the lineups who cared, and you still lost to Murray State, to an Ohio Valley Conference team. So you can say what you want about this Tiger team. You can try to make these quick fixes, but I think it's from the top down. It's from leadership down, and that's what needs to be addressed. And I will give Penny credit here. After the game, he said it was coaching malpractice. It was my fault completely. That's what I want to hear, because truthfully, what I'm watching tells me that. You're not playing the lineups that mesh together, and when you do get them on the floor, you keep them on the floor for 57 seconds at a time, and you put Alex Lomax back in. So there's a lot of things that they have to figure out. They're 5-4 right now. It's just unimaginable. They have Bama on Tuesday. They have Tennessee on Saturday. It's a big week for them. Let's see what they can do.
My not top story, Bryce Young wins the Heisman Trophy in a landslide. It was very predictable, especially after the last 2 weeks. He becomes the first Alabama quarterback. Now he has that chance, as Gabe talked about earlier, to join. Archie Griffin is the only back-to-back two-time winner of the most prestigious award for college football. For Alabama, though, on opening day 2009, from 0 Heismans to almost the end of the 2021 season, now to 4, is extraordinary. It was the only thing they lacked. It was the only thing that brand lacked on the bullet point resume that looks like the Dead Sea Scrolls, all single-spaced. It was the only thing they lacked was Heisman lore. And now, with 4, they have more than anybody in the SEC, topping Florida that had 3 with Spurrier, Werfel, and Tebow. Now Bama has 4. And of the current SEC schools, the current 14, the 2 new ones on the way, plenty of Heisman winners with Oklahoma and Texas with Earl Campbell and Ricky Williams. But of the 14 right now, 7's had a winner, 7 they have not. Most notably, famously, Tennessee, then Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Mizzou, Kentucky, and Vandy. Of that 7, who gets one next? Who gets one first of the 7 that hadn't had one?
Oh, gosh, that's a hard one. I'm not sure. We'll have to.
Tennessee long overdue.
They are. But
in a house of horrors.
Who in the near
trophy.
future? We'll see. This is going to be a down the road discussion. See who they recruit. See who they bring in. But that
Lane Kiffin quarterback.
A
Lane Kiffin quarterback.
I think that's possible. It's very possible. And there is some rumors about who his next one will be.
Arch Manning at Ole Miss.
You've seen the video, right? You've seen the video of him saying he's going to Ole Miss. Hotty toddy. You've heard it.
I'm ready to see him sign.
I hear you. That'll do it for our top and our not top story of the day. When we come back on the other side, there's a reason I was very short with the Tigers and Murray State sort of recap, because we're going to do that when we come back. There's a lot to be said. We want your text 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone listener line. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
This is Anthony Sane from Sports 56 Grind Time. I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Have a great holiday season and join Peter Evanston and me for Sports 56 Grind Time from 1 to 3 p.m. weekday afternoons right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do, and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
It's time to call Doug and Colin Brown for your house. Looking to buy or sell a home in Mississippi? Rely on Doug and Colin Brown, $1 Million Realtors at Regency Realty in Mississippi. This father-son combo will help you find your next dream home. With decades of experience, Doug and Colin Brown put honesty, integrity, and clients first. Call Doug and Colin Brown in Mississippi at 901-598-9168. Regency Realty, 901-350-5050.
Ho, ho, ho! Santa needs a new set of wheels, and he's going to Sunrise Chevy Buick GMC. Sunrise has hundreds of new and used cars and trucks. Ho, 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 ho. This time of the year, Santa's a little strapped for cash, but Sunrise has financing with no money down on approved credit. Sunrise has financing for everyone and specializes in secondary credit. The home of guaranteed credit approval. That's good, because feeding all these elves, Santa's credit's not so hot. Ho, 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 ho. A $4 million used car inventory. Find new roads. SunriseMemphis.com. 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. Ho, 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 ho.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Tigers dropped their 4th straight to Murray State and FedEx Forum on Friday night, and there's a lot to be made of it. Lose 74-72. Other team, Murray State, shot 14 for 29 from 3. They shot well. There's no question about it. But a 4th straight loss for a team that was in the preseason top 20 is somewhere I don't think anybody thought we were going to be at this point. Now, AutoZone listener line is open, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone. AutoZone, questions, comments, concerns on the Tigers. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. And it really was, Brett, a tale of two halves. Tigers go into halftime up 40-26. They looked really good. They had some lineups that were working in the first half that I think Penny went completely away from in the second.
I do too, Gabe, and that's why I've already today heard a lot of excuses, and we're not going to offer those up. I don't need to hear about everybody. It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game ever for them, because if that's the case, how did the Tigers get up 14 against the team in their Super Bowl? It's not everybody's Super Bowl. Get over that. You got to get over that. Georgia wasn't full. Ole Miss wasn't full. In fact, at Ole Miss, about 30% of the crowd was Tigers fans. Mm-hmm. If it's not the case, then all the Tigers fans on Twitter were all lying about we've taken over the building down here that day for most of the day. It's all I could see. We know that about a neutral, and we know Friday night wasn't Murray State Super Bowl. now there's defensive deficiencies on this team that if there was any shining light over the 3 years plus the start of this season in the Penny Hardaway years as head coach, his defense has mostly always been there. It got a little overdone that it was always locked down because you can't be too locked down when you lose by 40 in a conference game like they did a few years ago at Tulsa.
Right.
And you get down as badly as they got down at UCF a couple Februaries ago. So that was a little overdone. It's all been overdone. Everything's been overdone during the Penny Hardaway years. And now, standing and facing these two games this week that you knew, if you were rolling along at 9-0, this week was going to be difficult. Gabe, I don't know that 2 wins this week salvages net ranking, salvages NCAA. Right. And there always seems to be one guy that breaks through. The guy that can't anybody remember his name. I remember his first name's Gabe, like yours at Iowa State.
Kalsher.
He hadn't had 30. What's his last name?
Kalsher.
Gabe Kalsher, not Gabe Kuhn. Gabe
K.
And he hadn't had 30 cents. He hadn't come close to it. Jarkel Joyner didn't have that kind of game against Western Kentucky. The Okendo for Georgia hadn't come close to replicating that since then. And then that display Friday night. Mm-hmm. And up 14, you felt pretty good, but then here it comes.
Right.
And Murray State kept chewing away at it, eating away at it. And I think once they got the lead, they never trailed again from about the 10-minute mark on, did they?
No, they did not.
They got that lead, and they held on to it.
Do want to let you know, AutoZone listener line is open, 901-360-8255. Phone, text, whatever you want to do, we are here for you. Now, the one thing I want to point out is the big sort of talk last Saturday after the Ole Miss loss about playing who cares. We'd be undefeated if we played who cares. You started with Tyler Nalo, which, whatever, you said you were going to do it. You said you were going to play Tyler Harris. I thought Tyler Harris was the best offensive player on the floor for the Tigers, but we know what happens when you put Alex Lomax and Tyler Harris on the floor together. Your backcourt, you struggle defensively. That's what's going to happen. And this was exactly
they're both 5'7".
This was exactly the point. You had Tevin Brown, who you knew was going to come in and try to fill it up. He filled it up. Justice Hill, their guards went crazy. Their guards did whatever they wanted. 5 for 6 from the three-point line for Justice Hill. 6 for 13 for Tevin Brown. Their other guard, Carter Collins, 3 for 6 from 3. It's no surprise why they were able to get their shot off so easily.
They were licking their chops, Gabe. And then on the
they saw
defensive
5'10" and 5'9" and just ISO'd and took threes. It was
and the wanton disrespect in the offensive end for Alex Lomax. I mean, it's 5-on-4.
Mm-hmm. Brett, it's just it's frustrating to think about all of the things he said and how it's really not true. If we played everyone who cared, that's seemingly what you thought you were doing by putting that lineup out there. But when I look at what was being done by some of the reserves, some of the guys he sat to start the game, Lester Quinones, DeAndre Williams, when those guys were out there, the Tigers played better, a whole lot better. And you know what he did down the stretch? I believe he had, and by the way, I still will never get Josh Minot only playing 6 minutes at this point in the season. Throw him in there. He plays hard. He may make some mistakes because he's a freshman, but he's still a good player. But down the stretch in that game, it was Tyler Harris. He had Lomax off the floor. I think it was Earl Timberlake, Amani, Jalen Duren, and somebody else, fill in the blank. And he took that lineup out in 57 seconds. In 57 seconds, they had a defensive stop and they shot a 3 to try to cut the lead down. Only had that lineup on the floor for 57 seconds.
I don't know if there's an explanation for it.
Before subbing Lomax back in. Before subbing Alo back in.
If Danny Manning, who is the interim at Maryland and got him a good win yesterday, if he sent out that mission of mercy call, help me out a little bit, my old coach. I did deliver you a national championship at Kansas. I mean, would Larry Brown skip town immediately for that?
I'm not sure. I the roles of the coaching staff is very. I still don't understand that. Larry Brown, it's becoming more clearer and clearer by the day that he is a face when he's 81 years old. His best coaching days are behind him. I understand that. But you don't bring in a guy like that with that wealth of information to be a face of a program. That's just if you want my opinion on that whole situation. I thought that's a very interesting way to go about it. But
personnel wise, because we know of tragic eras in recruiting. It happens. People miss across every sport. I mean, that can't miss number one phenom baseball pitcher that never even gets to the show. It happens. We know it happens.
This
but
consistently
could you have missed on all these guys?
No.
We know the whole basketball world miss tremendously on Musa Cisse. Would you agree?
I would agree.
I mean, regardless where he goes, where he decided to play college basketball, he was going to be a stiff. But now after almost 3 years, don't we really know what we have in Quinones?
Yeah, you should at least.
And it's not that much, is it? It's not bad, but it's not great. It's the dime a dozen.
The question that is uncomfortable that has to be asked, and I've asked it to all of our college basketball guests, is there a development problem? Is there a development problem? And it seems like an overwhelming yes. Overwhelming yes.
Isn't Alex Lomax, Tyler Harris, and Lester Quinones kind of the same guy as at the big scrimmage, the booster scrimmage in late September a few years ago?
Yeah. Now, what do you do going forward? I think Penny has to look into himself and realize he is ridiculous with these rotations. He's not managing them correctly. He doesn't keep guys that are playing well on the floor long enough together. He likes to put Alex Lomax in there whenever he feels a little bit uncomfortable. There's no true one. We know that. There's no true point guard on this team. And
no game breaker, no difference maker.
You figured with the amount of talent they had, you wouldn't really need to necessarily, we need an absolute point guard. But at this point, you're getting to a point in the season where you realize how vital it is to this team to get somebody who can just keep the offense on the same page for long enough. And a lot of these rotations, Brett, I mean, it's just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. That's what it looks like.
And I'm hearing almost the mantra of the glass half full crowd. I understand that. Mm-hmm. The mantra of, it's early, a lot can change. It's a wild season. Texas Southern beat Florida and all that good stuff. And you can grab, clips and phrases from wherever you'd like and make a case for that. But after this week, barring at least a split, it's still early crowd is going to be losing some steam because it's starting to get later every week.
And you look at what they have ahead of them. Bama tomorrow, Tennessee on Saturday. If they go 0-2 this week, they drop under 500. That's a 5-6 record if you're counting at home.
Gabe, New Year's Day,
unheard of.
State.
Unheard of, Brett. Just unheard of. Could never have seen this coming or imagined it. And you talk about
certainly couldn't without catastrophic injury, could we?
Right.
I mean, if Duran and Bates both blow out an ACL opening night, okay,
different.
Well,
yeah, but you talk about the 5 stars, the 4 stars they've brought in, the guys that they've gotten from recruiting. It's been fantastic in the Penny Hardaway era as far as the stars are concerned. Now, once they get here, it's a different story. The fact that you have a walk-on transfer as your best player on the floor, your highest scorer on the floor on Friday night, what does that mean? Like, how does that happen? You have Amani Bates, Jalen Duran, Earl Timberlake, who was a 5-star, Lester Quinones, 4-star, Landers Nolly was a good transfer. How is your walk-on 5'9" guard your best scorer on the floor? That is just, that's baffling to me. Mind-numbing almost. It's very confusing, but it is what it is. 901-360-8255, AutoZone listener line. We go to our friend Neil. Neil, how are you?
Hey, good evening, guys. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just sitting here, and everything you guys are saying is overwhelmingly what the population of Memphis feels. Mm-hmm. I've been saying that, and let me say, I'm the biggest advocate for Penny Hardaway. Even before we got Tubby, I was pushing for Penny. because I thought Penny would be good with recruiting.
He has been.
You know, he's been excellent with recruiting. But you have the two of the top 5 players from that were actually supposed to be seniors in high school, but they still in this class last year were 2 of the top 5 players. Mm-hmm. And you can't make it work with 2 of the top 5 players because you're running an unorganized system that you've been running the past 3-4 years since you've been coach. Mm-hmm. And your players every year look like they don't know how to run offense. And then you continually blame the players, and you blame the players openly, and you make them nervous. Mm-hmm. And then you, like you said, he gets a good lineup, gets started. Within 2 minutes, he's changing the lineup. Mm-hmm. And somehow Alex Lomax keeps going into this lineup, in whatever lineup. And Alex Lomax is the worst player that he has. Statistically, Alex throws away more balls than anybody. He's the least useful person on offense. Mm-hmm. But he trusts Alex Lomax so much.
Right. And
that
Neil, what
the other guys and see what the other guys are saying is they make mistakes, but Alex is forgiven. You know, Penny quickly forgives Lomax mistakes.
And Neil, what I would tell you is that he's very, very comfortable with Alex Lomax. That's who he finds comfort in. He coached him all the way growing up. Now, I don't know if I share your sentiment about least useful. Maybe on offense, I could agree with some of that sentiment, Neil.
That's what I'm talking about, offense.
But as far as being a useful player, I think he's useful as a reserve. If you look at his statistics, over his career, they're way better off the bench than they are as a starter. But we do appreciate the call, Neil.
Hey, one more thing.
Go ahead.
You know, when Memphis won the NIT, Alex Lomax was on the bench injured.
Yep.
You know, the last few games that Memphis played well in, Alex was on the floor. On the bench injured. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that shows you right there that the team plays better without Alex Lomax. You know, Alex is a nice guy. You know, he's Memphis, born, bred, and he loves Memphis just like Penny. But you know, you're giving him chance after chance after chance, and you're constantly, you know, telling the other guys and scrutinizing them more. But you trust in Alex when he throws away balls more than anybody else.
I hear you, Neil. Thanks for the call, man. Neil. We have Mo. We're going to take this call from Mo, and then we are going to get to a break and get to your other calls. Mo, how are you?
Oh, fine. Yes. Yeah, I'd like to throw in my thinking about this thing. You know we were amazed that, you know, we're at this place in our season. But I'd like to go back about a couple of months ago, and we were all talking about how good we were going to be, and these guys were coming back. We're going to be core players and all. And then Penny drops it on them a couple of months ago. Well, you know, we got 2 more guys to put ahead of you on the rotation. Now, you know, fact of the matter is, no wonder Penny is playing them because he told them he was going to play them. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's just not enough minutes to go around.
Right. I hear you, Mo. Players. And promises have been made. Mo, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Promises have been made, Brett. To make no mistake, there's a reason Penny Hardaway is as good as he is.
Too.
It's as good. There's a reason he's good at recruiting. He knows how to talk to the guys. He knows what they want to hear. Now, the execution of actually getting that plan done, getting the minutes how they want it to be, the roles that those guys play when they actually get on campus is the hard part. And I think the hard part has not been emphasized enough. Getting them on campus certainly is emphasized enough. Saying the right things is emphasized enough.
He's proven to be a very adept, high-level recruiter, and he's a high school basketball coach.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, Brett, because that's where you hired him from. It shouldn't be a surprise. I know a lot of people were advocating for Penny Hardaway. I still want to see Penny Hardaway succeed. There's no question, but I think everyone does. But when you look at when you hired him, he was an AAU basketball coach and a high school basketball coach. There was going to be a learning process regardless of the situation. You just hope that it would have been done by now. You hope that the learning would have been done by now. We're going to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll take a couple more calls. and talk a little bit more Tigers right here on Sports 56, 98.5.
It's a new show with a new time, but Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane are back with Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now he speaks Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
So who's hitting the road for the holidays? I know there's a lot of people who want to get their car, truck, or SUV road ready. How about you? Gotta love this news from our friends at Auto Universe Germantown, 7300 Winchester, just off 385. Get this, full service maintenance with no wait time, and you can get an appointment for any day. That's unreal. Big discounts right now for everything from brake service and wheel alignment to replacing wiper blades, rotating tires, checking the battery, even servicing the transmission. Call Auto Universe Germantown today and ask for Robert. Great deal on the oil change and brake check. Or ask about the deal on the radiator service. There really is no wait time. Call for an appointment and get it done. Professional detailing is 20% off now, and you can get paintless dent removal in the Collision Center. Happy holidays from Auto Universe Germantown. Incredible selection of pre-owned luxury vehicles and full service with no wait time. 7300 Winchester or eautouniverse.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
AutoZone listener line is wide open for you. We'll only have it open until 4 o'clock for calls. As far as texts are concerned, keep sending them in all day. 901-360-8255. Talking Tigers right now. Getting this on AutoZone. And also you can watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. We bring on Gene to talk some Tigers. Gene, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Doing well.
Yeah, I would just say that I think Penny deserves a little bit more than just being labeled as just a high school basketball coach.
Mm-hmm.
You can say he's a championship high school basketball coach.
Okay.
I think his style where he's put trust in guys that he's pretty much groomed since they were babies or whatever. I think that's a good thing in the sense that he lets letting players know that, you know, if you're with me, you're with me. And, you know, and he had, like I say, he has two of the best players in America, you know, coming out of high school. So, but they really should be in high school now. So it's a process. I think just need to give the guy a chance, man, to get this thing going the right way.
How long does he get as far as this year is concerned? What's the record you look at? How many losses do you look at and say this was an abject failure? I'll ask you that, Gene.
I'm not going to call it a failure because he got the players there. First, you got to get the players there. Bottom line, You got to get him there. He's got him there, so we just need to sit back and let him do his job.
Okay.
Penny could have been anywhere in the world he wanted to be, but he wanted to come back to Memphis to do this.
I don't want it to be, Gene. I don't want it to get lost that he's a great. He's great for our city. He's done a whole lot in this city. I'd never want that to be lost. And what he's done in helping Alex Lomax, Tyler, all these guys that he's coached through his high school days, AAU days. I don't want that to get lost. But at some point, the results have to come in, and that's just sort of the truth of it.
Well, that's true too, but you have to give a guy a chance to get this thing right. Like I said, he got the players there. Let him do his job.
How long, Gene?
Those guys have to step up as well within themselves. They have to step up.
We appreciate the call, but the one question I'd have for Gene, and Brett, you just put it out there. How long? At one point, the players have been coming in. This is 4 years now where the players have been coming in.
There's a lot of high school basketball champion coaches.
Yes, there are. And
about 4%.
And by the way, it's I think when you have talent at the high school level, it's drastically easier to beat other teams when you have that type of talent on your team. Just an observation. College, you can't do that. You can't just walk out there and try to out-talent people all the time. It'll catch up to you. Last caller here, we have Dennis. Dennis, how are you?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
You made a good point earlier, and I've been telling people, man, we have to realize same thing with Josh, except he was on the bench and he was on the Hall of Fame coach. Penny has no experience, man. I mean, the national media, they kind of wrote us a little bit about hiring him. And I was one of the guys, too. We all kind of fell in love,
Give him time to learn. Give him time to learn, Dennis.
Yeah. And like you said, that's a great question. How long? Me personally, I answer that question, and I give you my reason why. I would say give him as long as he needs, man. And this is why I say this. I'm not on this fire Penny thing. You get somebody else in here, and I don't think personally that is a stepping stone, but this job will be a stepping stone for most people. They get in here. This was wrong with football. The reason football cannot stay stable is that as soon as somebody gets good, they go to a bigger conference. And this is the same thing is going to happen. I've heard Patino's name floating around. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think Patino's going to stay here? If he wins 2 or 3 years, he's going to leave. So I think just give him time, man. I mean, it sucks. The rotation sucks. I'm not sitting here saying it's all rosy. I mean, Penny, I don't know if he's a narcissist or what, but he says one thing and does another. I don't know, man, but I just think we've done it now. We got to stick with it, man. And I'd like to ask you guys a question. How many, NBA coaches have done well? I thought about Clyde Drexler, that bombed out of Houston. Chris Mullins, I think he was at
Juwan Howard's doing okay so far.
Yeah.
Sidney
so I just was wondering, man, what you guys think? Patrick Ewing, I mean, I don't know.
He's
I think it
flopping.
might be an ego thing. I don't know, man.
We appreciate the call, Dennis.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Dennis. Very few star players from the NBA have done very well going back to college. Juwan Howard right now seems to be the most successful, but they're not lighting it up.
And I'll say this. To Dennis's point, I understand what he's saying, talking about this would be a stepping stone for a lot of guys. For Penny Hardaway, it's not a stepping stone necessarily, but at the same time, do we forget the flirtation with the Magic, the NBA flirtation, all
That's
that
right.
type of thing? So there's no, you can't guarantee that Penny Hardaway himself is going to stay if a certain amount of success comes out of this. Now, you want success to come out of it, and if he did move on, he moves on. But I don't think you have to see something through if it goes completely and utterly south and handicap
And that's the
your
direction
program.
it's heading.
Yeah.
Right now, that's the direction it's heading. Gabe, there are going to be 2 interesting names, whether it's here, there, or elsewhere at the end of this year. Would an AD have a stomach to hire them? If you have a stomach to have Larry Brown on your campus, you got a pretty strong stomach, and you can do a lot of things.
Right.
If you have the stomach for that to let that coup of Tubby Smith happen, you have a pretty strong stomach. And there's 2 names. Caller mentioned one, Rick Pitino. Mm-hmm. Another one, Greg Marshall.
After the way it did with Greg Marshall at Wichita State, my gosh,
Rick Pitino ended for him.
Well, but heck, he's doing a good job at Iona right this second. He's doing all right. Greg Marshall's been out of the
ring
game.
operating out of the basketball door.
I'm not. Hey, I'm not. But he's back in the game right now. Greg Marshall's still out. Greg Marshall's not in the game right now.
That's right. That's why it's going to be a tough call.
No. I'm not trying to make Rick Pitino's history sound like it's nothing. It's clearly something. But he's in the game right now, Iona. He's been coaching.
Larry Brown's history was quite replete, too.
Yes. Let's see here. As far as the text line is concerned, 901-360-8255. Someone says, I don't get why Josh Minot only gets 6 minutes playing time when Penny says himself that he needs to get him more minutes. Got other people to please, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't and Josh Minot, to be fair, makes some young plays at times, but at this point in the season, he gets in, he plays really hard, gets some rebounds, and he has the ability on the offensive end to knock down a shot and get to the rim. Well,
now what is kind of spectacular about this year was the Virginia Tech win. They're not that good, but beating good coaches like Travis Ford and Rick Stansberry is almost remarkable now.
Yes, it's interesting too. And Western Kentucky just handled Ole Miss, from what I understand, right?
Ooh, just pounded them.
Yeah,
from
23
opening
points.
tap.
Yeah, that is wild. Some said, is it possible that Coach Penny really wants to sub players sort of like hockey line changes in order to keep players fresh and keep running and gunning? I guess that's the thought.
No, that's exactly what he's doing.
I try winning over being fresh.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the thought. But that type of pressure, and we've talked about that. That's why the rotations are what they are. That's why he plays 11 guys, because he wants to keep the pressure on defensively. But eventually, it catches up to you, and you never really find a lineup that you fall in love to, and you get away from lineups that you should fall in love with. So it's a concerning part of what Penny's doing right now. Someone says, it's true that Penny landed big recruits, but how much longer will he be able to do that if we continue to lose? That's a golden question. I don't think if you lose all that much, you're going to be able to do the same on the recruiting trail. I don't think Amani Bates and Jalen Duren reclassify to come here if you lose and don't get to 20 wins per year.
Same thing happened to Josh.
Oh, gosh. Someone says, any idea that the Magic had any real thought whatsoever of hiring Penny, or was it just delusional as everything else going on with this program? No, look, he was part of the conversation with the Magic. Now, did he definitely use that as somewhat of leverage to try to re-up contract, talk about that with the school? But there was flirtation. There's no question about it. I don't know if it was ever going to materialize, but it was there. It was certainly a real thing that happened this offseason that we can't ignore when we're talking about a stepping stone job and everything like that.
It was the final leverage to make sure to get Larry Brown.
Yep, like our friend Dennis was talking about earlier. That'll do it for hour number one. Hour number two is going to be a busy one. David Cobb from CBS Sports, Evan Barnes at 4:30 from the CA to talk Tigers football, and we get to our overreactions and winners for the weekend of college football and NFL. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
General contractors, subcontractors, Zipcat can help you find workers for the jobs you're needing done. Contractors, just post your jobs on Zipcat for the price you want them done for. Subcontractors will find the jobs listed on Zipcat and offer to buy them. You both have 3 days to accept and approve the subcontracting job you bought. For the best tool in your toolbox, download the Zipcat app. Roofers, concrete, plumbers, HVAC, painters, download it free. Zipcat, Z-I-P-C-A-T. Z-I-P-C-A-T. That's Zipcat.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip hop, or house, country, techno, or techno country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the season of performance and the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging from the stunning interior, complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today. Ridgeway at 385 or shop online from the convenience of your home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
The holidays are fast approaching, so start on your list now at Mid-South Hobbies. E-Flight Airplanes, Athearn Trains. Mid-South Hobbies has a huge selection of cars, trucks, and boats from Arma, Losi, Axial 1/10 and 1/24 scale cars, trucks, and crawlers. Spectrum batteries and all accessories are here now. Santa shops local. Hope you do too. Make your holidays fun and exciting at Mid-South Hobbies. Open 7 days a week at 4862 Summer at Mendenhall. Call 901-682-9402 for more details and information. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Mid-South Hobbies.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling, hour number 2, Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Stats Norsworthy, and our good producer, fantastic producer, Bryant Dacus. What's your Twitter? It's Bryant_Dacus, right?
That's absolutely right, Gabe.
There we go. Follow him on Twitter at Bryant_Dacus. Brett
Gabe,
at
do
Brett
you follow Bryant?
_Norsworthy, and me at G_Kuhn. That's KUHN71. Yes, of course I follow Bryant.
Good.
Of course I do.
Okay.
That'd be bad.
I never remember if it's B Dacus or Bryant.
You know what?
Dacus.
I can never remember my own Twitter name, so it's okay.
You want to change your handle to something a little more?
Let's
find you a cool
Oh, what's wrong with
nifty
Bryant
nickname.
_Dacus?
I don't know.
Too basic.
I don't know. Let's see. Supreme B.
Gabe's producer.
That's it.
Oh, I can deal with that one. Okay, that's cool. But let's go ahead and bring on our friend David Cobb at David W. Cobb from CBS Sports, covering college basketball and college football. David, how's it going, man?
Hey, David.
Good, yeah. Good. Hey, guys. And again, no underscore in my name. It's just David W. Cobb. So
David W. Cobb.
Yeah.
You have capitalized D, a W, and a C, even though I don't think that matters on Twitter, right?
That's correct. And I work for at CBS Sports.
At CBS Sports. Okay. Gotcha. Understood. Follow all his work right there at CBS Sports. So we have a Heisman winner. Bryce Young gets it running away. The one thing I asked Brett about this earlier, were you surprised that Aiden Hutchinson was in that 2 spot, was second in the voting?
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a defensive player win it. I mean, what a close to the season. I think him coming in second is a nod from the voters. And hey, Brett, you voted. Tell me if I'm wrong. But an acknowledgement of the way Michigan closed the season, and he was a huge part of that. And he became a focal point nationally only in the last month of the season. So I don't think he was a super mega star, in September for the average college football fan. But you turn on Fox Big Noon, you turn on College Game Day in November, and there he was. And so I think that definitely helped him.
I think a month might be stretching it, David. I think it was all in kind of that last 3 weeks.
Penn State, Ohio State, Big Ten championship.
And then how about the shade thrown right there at C.J. Stroud on the stage by Desmond Howard? I thought in just really shoddy style too, when Hutchinson rightly, proudly mentioned how big the win was over Ohio State. And I think either Tebow or Chris Fowler, to try to lighten the mood, said, "What's a good thing, somebody standing between you and C.J. Stroud." And then the call that he is, Desmond Howard had to go, "Yeah, they're protecting him better than his offensive line did against Michigan."
I missed that.
What a loser comment.
That's phenomenal, though. Good TV, I guess.
I especially like the part of Bryce Young's speech when Bryce Young said that he was always counted out and everything. Look, and I understand there's a lot of
because of his size.
Yeah, I understand that, but he was a 5-star #1 recruit
Sure.
out of high school. I don't know.
At
If there's a
Pasadena,
lot of people.
California.
I
Modern
understand
day high school.
That's sort of Heisman winner talk. That's player talk. Like everyone doubted me. Yeah, Bryce, did they really?
We're not talking about Kurt Warner here.
Yeah. I bet everybody in the top 10 of that voting thinks that they were the underdog or counted out or whatever. I think maybe Breece Hall at number 10 or Desmond Ridder at number 8 might get to claim that, or Kenneth Walker at number 6. But shoot, even Kenny Pickett's been playing really good high-level college football for a long time. And he was kind of the under-the-radar guy, I think, and he was really in the mix. And Bryce Young, Aiden Hutchinson, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, all those guys have been well known for a long time. So I don't know about that, but Bryce Young is the first Alabama quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy, which
Get ready for this, David. Next summer, summertime story extraordinaire. The one that will be leading it will be this: can he go back-to-back unless Will Anderson's the ticket splitter?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was why Mac Jones and maybe didn't win it last year, is because he had Devontae Smith on his roster who won it instead. So,
and Najee Harris.
Right, exactly. So I'm okay with Bryce Young winning it, even though they've been doing it all year. They want to compare his quarterback rating to Mac Jones's quarterback rating. And I'm thinking that's not really a fair way to compare their resumes, because Bryce Young didn't have Devontae Smith. He didn't have Jalen Waddle. He didn't have Najee Harris. He had an offensive line that was not quite as good. Mm-hmm. So I think Bryce Young and what he did is certainly deserving of the Heisman Trophy season, because he performed just like Aiden Hutchinson did.
Right.
He played his best ball when it mattered the most, and so it's not necessarily a statistical award. Those stats are certainly helpful, I'm sure, when you're casting your ballot, but it's who performed the best in the biggest moments, and was the most important player in college football. And there's no doubt that Alabama is on the outside looking in at this college football playoff, if not for the play of Bryce Young.
David, that's so well said. It really is a moments award.
Yeah, I mean that's been the phrase as long as I can remember, Heisman moment. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think the Georgia game was Bryce Young's Heisman. It featured several Heisman moments, but I go back throughout the season and think about how Bryce Young grew as a player, and the moment never really seemed too big for him. He always, stayed poised, just limited turnovers. In some ways, he was like a game manager extraordinaire. Like he was like an elite version of what Nick Saban had at quarterback earlier in his tenure, and he could, manage the game, but also just make ridiculous throws. And as the season went on, he got more comfortable running the football, which was something he wasn't doing early in the season. So he kind of added that to his game as the season went on. So you saw him get better as the season progressed as well. So I know there's certainly fatigue on, another Alabama player, won the Heisman Trophy, but
different type.
He is who I would have voted for, especially after that SEC championship game. Now, it would have been real interesting if he had if he had the Stetson Bennett type of game, in the SEC title game, maybe Hutchinson slips in there. I think he certainly would have had a shot.
And yeah, Hutchinson was certainly, when you talk about moments, because I didn't even know he was going to be a finalist until they announced it. I didn't really think that. I figured Will Anderson statistically would probably be more in the conversation if you're going with a defensive player. But Hutchinson did play good and played really well in the games that he needed to. Penn State, Ohio State, and the Big Ten Championship. Now, I have a question, serious question. Who has the best quarterback room in college football? Ohio State, Alabama, or the transfer portal?
I can't even keep track of how many quarterbacks have entered into the portal. We were traveling today, so I'm getting home and just kind of pulling up, Twitter and different news sites and stuff, and trying to get a feel on it. To see a guy like Bo Nix get in the portal, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about the era we've entered into in college football, where you've got a legacy quarterback at Auburn who started for multiple seasons there, who's from that state, who's kind of repped that logo, on his heart for his entire life. And now that guy's going into the portal. That's wild, So I would take the portal over any quarterback room in the country right now, no doubt.
And you just had Ewers in it for a second, and he ends up at Texas, which is an interesting decision considering where Texas was this year. But I guess there is some thought for him. He can make a lot of money there, and he can turn that program around with Sark.
I hate that.
Zach Calzada, who engineered the biggest upset of the year in the portal.
He went in today as well?
He did.
Yep.
That's
done.
Wild. I mean,
Keaton
he got
Slovis
so much.
Too.
Yeah. Slovis I get because there's been a coaching change out there. Obviously Lincoln Riley knows exactly what kind of quarterback he wants. So, I wasn't shocked to see Slovis, but I am a little surprised to see Calzada because I thought he got a lot better as the season went on. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He led them to that win over Alabama. He actually looked like a quarterback who could, lead Texas A&M to a 10 or 11 win type of season at moments this year in the second half of that season. I don't know that they're going to win a national title with him at quarterback, so maybe that's kind of where things are at there. But yeah, that's wild. I mean, the idea that all these players are going to land somewhere where they have better situations, though, I think is a little bit naive. So I get it. A lot of times they are encouraged to go to the portal. So it's tempting on our end to blame them for being quitters or for, being opportunists or whatever. I think it's important to remember, and I don't know if this was the case with Haynes King. I suspect it may have been, or not Haynes King, but Zach Calzada, we're maybe going to look in another direction. And for Texas A&M, I know they were really high on Haynes King before he got hurt, going into this year. And maybe the idea there is that, Zach, you helped us win some big games. We appreciate, what you did leading us to a big win over Alabama, but pretty sure this job's going to go to Haynes King, once he's fully rehabilitated. I don't know. I mean, that's
and good luck at North Texas State next year.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, gosh.
And David, we like to talk. I think other than the competition, the thing I love most about sports is the finality of it. The scoreboard, the history books, they have to matter. The one, unless you're playing golf, the one with the most means they were better. And for Zach Calzada, I look at the SEC standings for this year. Not only could he get them in the college football playoff, not only could he not get them in Atlanta, he got Texas A&M to a 5th place finish, closer to 7 than to 2.
Yeah, that's true, but I just feel like that offense is set up to ask a little bit too much of its quarterback. I mean, I didn't think that they had the perimeter playmakers at A&M this year that they needed to compete in the SEC. I mean, they had a good running back duo with Akane and Spiller, and their offensive line had some moments. But I didn't think that offense was built. Aside from the tight end, Weidermeyer, there was no big-time elite pass catcher on that team. And to me, that was an offense that was set up to require a quarterback with mobility. I think that's what they thought Haynes King would bring until he got hurt. Zach Calzada didn't bring it, and we saw the ceiling there, And so I think Calzada could be successful if he had a Georgia caliber offense, with those types of playmakers and stuff. But I mean, I don't think that he was set up to succeed in that system, because I think A&M is still, even after kind of trying to revolutionize things a little bit, wasn't really all that forward thinking with its offense this year. And I'm curious to see where they go from here as a program, because yeah, they beat Alabama, but they're losing their defensive coordinator, Mike Elko, to Duke, and he's going to be their next head coach. And he's, the defense has been a huge part of Jimbo's success there to this point. The offense hasn't really been elite. And so it's going to be a true test of whether he's going to earn that fat paycheck, over these next couple seasons. Because it's he's done okay there, but he hasn't been the title winning, just savior of that program that the money suggested they thought he may be.
Yeah, Jimbo has been interesting to me, even dating back when he was competing for national championships at Florida State. There was always some shortcomings, even with those teams. Their O-line was never any good. He is an interesting coach, but he's done a decent job at A&M. But when you look at the numbers, Brett, you could probably back me up on this. Is it much better so far than Kevin Sumlin was at this point in his A&M career?
It's right there with Kevin Sumlin, and it goes back again for me. Most of my life, I've been hearing about this growing, going to take over college football kingdom coming from Texas A&M, whether it was Emory Billard going to the Wishbone, or hiring Jackie Sherrill, or hiring a coach from the pros in Mike Sherman, to the historic hire of Kevin Sumlin, to all these different hires, and it never works out for them. And now the one thing that they had separation from their arch rival, their biggest rival, Texas, now they're getting ready to be conference brohams with them.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We'll see. I kind of feel like right now, Texas A&M has a clear leg up as a program on Texas, but if there's any perceived recruiting advantage to being in the SEC, that'll evaporate. And Texas A&M certainly has recruited well, under Jimbo. But as of now, that 9-1 season last year during COVID is the peak of what he's done.
The Jimbo years at A&M are hauntingly like the Penny Hardaway years so far for the Tigers.
Oh, wow. Dang.
A whole lot of smoke and very little flame.
He was almost in a playoff. Now, there were some extenuating circumstances to almost get him there.
I had people tell me the Tigers winning the NIT was a big deal.
Brett, I'd say a tad bit better than Penny so far. We'll get to that here at the very end. I do have to ask you about the Oregon job, though. They hired Dan Lanning, 35 years old. Looks like a guy I'm familiar with. Looks like he might bring in Kenny Dillingham from Florida State, another young guy. What's your feel on this hire? Kind of interesting to me.
I'm thinking Gabe Kuhn for O-line coach.
How about it? Yeah.
You got to text me if that goes down.
Okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Yeah. No, it's good hire. I think. It depends on how you look at it. Like, it's a high upside hire, but it's a high risk hire as well, because you're talking about a guy, like you said, very, very young, being handed the keys as a first-time head coach to a program that is capable of operating at a very high level. So there is some inherent risk, in doing that. And there's also, as Oregon has learned in recent years, always the risk of losing your head coach to another program. And so you're talking about a guy in Dan Lanning who will be going out there with roots in the Southeast, who could potentially be lured to the SEC if he's got things, up and running there at Oregon. So there's a risk in that as well. But I thought, and I think I said it probably on here as far back as a month or 6 weeks ago, that I felt like Dan Lanning was somebody who should get a look.
Yep.
During some of these openings, in this coaching cycle. So not at all surprised to hear his name come up. Now it's just, hey, what? How good are you really?
Right.
Here's what's interesting about Dan Lanning. This Gabe. This was the job that he had before he came to be an assistant at Memphis. As recently as 2015, you're talking about a guy who was a GA.
Yep.
So, it's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got to get their first break at some point, but that's just crazy, right? That you're now in charge of a program that's been to the college football playoff, and you were a GA.
Played in the Pac-12 championship game this year.
I say you're hitting it right on the head, David.
So it's interesting. I'm trying to think. Has he announced? Has he announced Dillingham?
It's not
I think
official yet. That's just sort of the what targeting. He's targeting. Kenny
Yeah.
Dillingham
Well,
as
that
his
would be a
OC.
good hire, I think. I mean, Dillingham's been successful, so I think it'll be
And
good.
Lanning wanted the Memphis job when Ryan got it, didn't he, Gabe?
He was probably on a little outside of the regular short list, but he would have been a guy who knew the program, and
Here's
that
what
was
you
a guy
can't
that
deny.
definitely got brought up.
What you can't deny about Dan Lanning is that he was the defensive coordinator this season at Georgia during one of the most historically successful seasons of defense that's been played, in college football in this century. And so that guy, I don't care how old he is, he deserves a look when you're talking about the head coaching carousel. So I'm glad to see that he got that opportunity.
And I say this not trying to sound corny in any way, shape, or form. I know both of these guys, Dan Lanning and Kenny Dillingham, very well. They're young coaches. They relate to the players better than anybody I ever dealt with at Memphis. They will be able to recruit. I can tell you that much. They know exactly how to sell a program. They know exactly how to tell, younger guys what they're going to get out of the program, and they know what they want to hear. The interesting part is, though, you're talking about 35-year-olds. You're talking about guys that are taking over a premier job in the Pac-12 that's at the top of the Pac-12 right now, and you just sort of wonder how quickly do they sort of hit their stride as with expanded roles. And with Dillingham, I mean, at Florida State and at Auburn, he always has wanted a expanded role as the OC. He's had the OC tag, but he's an OC under Mike Norvell, who generally runs an offense himself, under Gus, who generally runs the offense by himself. So he's going to get that expanded role. He's going to have to do something with it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with Dan. He's been a defensive coordinator under a head coach in Kirby Smart, who I'm sure does have a fairly significant, imprint on what Georgia's done defensively. So these two guys now, after having a lot of success in other places, going to kind of get to spread their wings in tandem together. And I like that Oregon's going defense with its head coach,
right,
while USC is going offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that at Oregon you're going to be able to compete offensively with what Lincoln Riley is going to bring, to that conference and the way he'll be able to recruit on the offensive side of the ball. But Oregon's been able to recruit really at a high level on the defensive side of the ball as of late. And I think in some ways this is dovetails nicely with probably some of the talent they've already got on that roster, because Cristobal had them playing a pretty physical brand of football. And I think they should be able to kind of continue that, with Dan Lanning as head coach, because it's certainly, I would venture to say, not going to be any sort of a finesse brand.
Yeah, but I'm damn happy for those guys, because those are really good guys there, Dan Lanning. And if Kenny Dillingham's official, if they finalize it, very, very happy for Kenny moving to that OC role. Now, there was a letter sent by Oregon players, former Oregon players, that Joey Harrington, Marcus Mariota, Justin Herbert, Achilles Smith, other guys, that they sent to the AD, Rob Mullins. Did you hear about this? Are you familiar with this?
Were they advocating for someone else?
Yeah, they were advocating for Justin Wilcox, who turned down the job. And I don't know if you're familiar with Twitter Spaces. If you've ever been in any Twitter Spaces, David, they had a Oregon Twitter Space running the entire weekend. Never stopped. They just had a new host rolling in there. They said they want.
Now that's commitment.
And what they said in this letter is they said, we want our program, not just this job, to mean something to our next head coach. And they were talking about how they don't want it to be a stepping stone. But I mean, it's a good job, and you sort of got to this with Lanning.
Be cool,
it's
Oregon.
possible that he could step back into the Southeast once he sees success there.
Yeah, and Wilcox, I think, would be a little bit of a tough sell, just because he's never really found that peak at Cal.
Need an offensive guy.
Yeah, and I kept thinking Cal was going to get over the hump. I mean, I was like super over the top, thinking they had the team to do it last year, and then COVID hit, and they got messed up by that because of state regulations and being on a really strict campus and all. So, I mean,
we were on team Chase Gerbers, weren't we?
Yeah, Chase Gerbers.
I was big time. Yeah, but didn't work out. Anyway, I think Justin Wilcox is a fine coach, but you can't hire a coach from within your division who has a sub 500 record, during his tenure. So
Well, Auburn hired Gene Chizik once.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I would think Lanning. If you take off your Oregon glasses there, I think Lanning's the better hire.
And Phil Knight did, and he won out.
Yeah, money always. When Phil Knight's going to get his way, there's no doubt about that.
The interesting thing about Wilcox and all these Oregon players saying that they wanted him, from what I understand from the reports I've read, he denied the thing. He denied the job at first. So I digress. It is what it is. Real quick before we get you out of here, I wish we could have got to more college basketball. I guess I'm just going to open the floor to you to say what you see with the Tigers. What in the world? I mean, it's a full spiral now. I mean, it is spiraled out of control on Penny.
Yeah, it's about all you can say. The Murray State thing was so baffling. I mean, up 14 at half, playing with a lot of energy, and then all of a sudden, I mean, part of that is Murray State getting hot, but then part of that is the team playing with no confidence, and a team that doesn't know who its go-to scoring option is. But I mean, I guess I got to say this: I love guys who are under 6 feet tall. So Tyler Harris has always been my homie, and right. He's balling out, and I love to see that because I mean he's a walk-on. He's come back home. If there's one feel-good story from Memphis this year, it's Tyler Harris. But they're going to need some feel-good stories this next week. I mean, Alabama, I thought might have trouble with Houston's guards on Saturday because Houston's one of the better defensive teams in the country. They didn't. They still, scored 84 points in that game. So I just don't think that Memphis is where it needs to be offensively to keep up with Alabama because Alabama had no trouble scoring against Houston. And Houston's a better offensive team than Memphis, so I think Memphis is going to struggle to keep up with Alabama. The game being at home helps, but I don't think it's going to make a big enough difference for Memphis to win that game. And then, Tennessee playing fine, not playing great, but a team that has a little bit firmer idea of who it is right now. So, I mean, it's a real good chance that we could be talking next week with Memphis sitting there at 5-6, and on the skids with a 6-game losing streak. And at that point, you got one game left before the AAC comes, and it's just a tough situation.
Yeah, resume not going to be able to get built all that much come AAC play, but we will see what happens with the Tigers. Last year they had a tear down the stretch. I think people are hoping this year will be the same, but it has been very ugly.
It's awful. I mean, it's a terrible situation. They're playing like garbage. But if you do win one of these games against Alabama or Tennessee, might totally change the dynamic of the season.
No
I just don't think that it's going to happen.
Right. Haven't given you much reason to. But, David, we appreciate it, man. You the man.
All right. Talk to you guys next week.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
You can follow David at David W. Cobb on Twitter. When we come back, we bring on our good friend from the CA talking Tigers football, Evan Barnes. You're listening to Sports 56 98.5.
Hi, everyone. This is Greg Aston from Sports 56 Mornings. I want to send a heartfelt wish for a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year to all our loyal listeners. And remember, when you wake up, please tune into Sports 56 Mornings with Eli Savoy and me. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
With Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One, with a preview of action coming up from the Arizona desert between the Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. Kurt, it's hard to imagine a better primetime matchup than the 10-2 Cardinals with quarterback Kyler Murray back in action and the 8-4 division rival Rams.
Well, Kevin, we like to call this the Warner Bowl between two of my old teams, and you're talking about huge playoff division implications. The Cardinals, if they win this football game, they are 3 up with 4 to play on the Rams. We know the Cardinals took care of business 37-20 in their first matchup. The Rams desperately need this one after 3 losses. They got a win last week.
It's the Warner Bowl, Rams at Cardinals on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, get great deals on a variety of Craftsman tools all month long for those DIYers in your family, like the 20-volt drill driver combo with a battery and charger for just $119. With a deal like that, we're putting unfinished projects on notice. Looking at you, loose doorknob. That's the drill driver combo, just $119. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and NapaOnline.com. While supplies last. Offer ends 12/31/21.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We bring on our good friend from the CA, Memphis football beat reporter, and also the interim Grizzlies reporter. I know that DeMichael, who we'll have on later in the show, is going to be the new guy joining you at the CA. But, Evan, I do want to just give you praise, man. You've done a heck of a job with that Grizzlies beat.
You sure have, Evan.
Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate that.
It has been yeoman's work. You've done it with aplomb, and you've done it. I think your standard was the one that everybody should have. You've done it with the reader in mind.
I appreciate it. I mean, this was difficult the last 2 years.
No
I'm not
question.
gonna lie. I mean, it was a lot, but I'm just glad, and I got a job to do this week, so that's
Right.
my focus is just getting ready for another busy week starting tonight with Grizzlies and Sixers.
No question. We appreciate you joining us. Now, from the Memphis football perspective, I saw some of your tweets earlier today about what this team has sort of done with a little bit of time off. Do you think that it's been useful to have this time off before they start bowl prep?
I think so. I mean, it's probably better for them just to kind of have a chance to really kind of decompress, relax a little bit, get healthy. Get healthy is probably the most important thing, obviously. As we heard today from from Seth Hennigan, since other coaches can't discuss injuries, but Seth Hennigan said that he's feeling a little bit healthier, that he had a little bit of a hand injury after Tulane. So I think it's good. Like the bowl prep and the break between bowl games is good because you just kind of need to like breathe a little bit and then get ready, gear up for one last game.
And Evan, for the Tigers to win that game, to finish 7-6, to finish with a 2-game winning streak, that would salve over a lot of irritation for this year. The irritation of losing all those close games. I'm talking more through the perspective of fandom. Your opinion. I know you cover the team, but I feel like the last few years, particularly during the Penny Hardaway basketball years, that the football team has offered kind of safe harbor for some of the aggravation from basketball. This bowl win could really be a real help to maybe get people a little bit happier around basketball's how it's playing out. What do you think?
Brett, you might hate me for this, but I don't think so. And it's more so because of how hectic people are around this basketball program and how things are going right now. Like if Memphis basketball loses to Alabama and Tennessee this week, I don't think a bowl win is going to change how people feel. It's just going to be, people are going to feel really, really hard about that. So I hate to be the pessimist, but I just don't think so, because basketball has its own things that they need to work out. But to your other point, though, is that if it can kind of like make the season feel better, maybe for some people, I mean, you go 7-6, it's better than 6-7. It looks better. You win a bowl game in Hawaii against, a Hawaii team that's got a lot of issues. It looks better. I think it does good for appearances, but I also don't think it's going to take away the concerns and the issues that have plagued this Memphis team, because when the smoke fades, you still have to look at a team that won 6 or 7 games, and it's going to lose Calvin Austin, J.J. Russell, Jacoby Francis, and a lot of guys. And you have to ask yourself, where is this team going to head in 2022? So we will see what happens, but I do think a bowl win will hopefully bring some people some good vibes to end the season, because, again, 7-6 is better than 6-7.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Evan. I don't know if anything can sort of lighten the mood around Memphis basketball right now. If our text line and our phone line has anything to say about that, they'd agree on that. You mentioned you're losing Calvin Austin, you're losing some guys. Going into next year, who do you think is going to take the leap? Who's going to take a step in that direction and sort of replace that production?
That's actually the question I'd like to see answered. I don't know in some of those cases. Like, obviously, we go back to the year you graduated, 2017. We knew we had an idea that, okay, maybe DeMonte Coxey can be that number one guy. 2020, Coxey was still here, but when he left, you kind of could see Calvin Austin, okay, he had a little bit of a breakout year in 2019. Maybe he could shoulder the load in 2020, and all he did was just have an all AAC caliber year. So I think it's going to probably be a case of, is it Javon Ivory? Is it Rock Taylor? We don't know what the running game is going to look like next year. I mean, somebody's going to have to take the bull by the horns between now and preseason practice and say, I'm going to be the number one option on offense, because this is probably the first time where it's not clear who that's going to be. I think there's some questions about that. So, but I would look at Javon Ivory as somebody who could fill that role. Maybe it's one of the young receivers who truly steps up. But this really is going to be a bowl game where maybe that we get some answers on that.
And you brought up the run game and how much it needs to change. I think going into next year, they need to do some different things. They need to be more differentiated when it comes to schemes, but they also need to find a guy who they trust consistently throughout the year to get the 15 carries per game, 20 carries per game. Be that guy if they want to establish a run game. From what I saw, it seems like Asa Martin is sort of coming on strong, and Kevin Johns certainly has made that known.
Yeah, I mean, I found it really interesting today that Kevin Johns compared it to Antonio Gibson's rise in 2019 coming on at the end of the season. But
heck of a
to be
comparison.
fair, it is. But I would say this. Antonio Gibson was having long touchdown plays before he was converted to running back. Like, that was kind of how he made his name early part of the season, was he was having long plays as a wide receiver, as a big play threat. And then when they converted him to running back, he kept doing the same thing. So there's something going on now where I think the coaches recognize, okay, they got something with Asa Martin. They're going to use him. And I would hope that next year, and I wrote this last week in my checklist, that they got to find a way to get him more touches. They have to find a way to get Asa Martin more touches. You even saw on Twitter today when I mentioned that Kevin Johns had praised for Asa Martin, that Kenny Gainwell and Colin Watkins both supported that Asa Martin has been, that guy for Memphis. So to me, they have to find a way to get him the ball more next year. Whether Brandon Thomas comes back, whether Freak, Marquavius Weaver, they have to find a way to get Asa Martin the ball more. Simple as that, because he makes good things happen.
Evan, it looks like when I go to Rivals, I go to 24/7. That's the depth of me keeping up with recruiting. It looks pretty favorable for the Tigers come Wednesday and into the February signing period. How do they feel about it?
What do you mean as far as the
good class?
How they feel about it?
Yeah,
coaches of the class. I'm sorry. Okay, that means the coaches. Okay. No, I mean, we asked Ryan Silverfield about it last week. Obviously, we have to find ways to be careful with asking because they can't speak on obvious players. But he sounded like, he's pretty, interested to see how this class turns out, because right now, if you notice the last 3 days, Memphis has gotten 4 junior college commits, which is something that they did not do last year. They did not go into the junior college market. Now they've been getting a wave of them over the last 72 hours. So it feels like what people may see on Wednesday is a smaller class in terms of bodies who are committed. It's going to be, as it stands right now, as we just got a commitment today on Twitter, we saw one. It's looking like 16 right now, which would be the smallest number Memphis has had in over, at least since 2010. I haven't gone back further than that, but it'd be one of the smallest classes. But for what Ryan Silverfield indicated, Memphis will be, mining the transfer portal. They will be looking around to see kind of what happens. And Silverfield brought up the rule that it's the NCAA rule this year that if you lose 7 players to the transfer portal, you can add 7 players more than to your cap of 25 new players. So that let me know from what he said that even though this class is small, Memphis is definitely going to be looking at the transfer portal to see kind of what else is out there. So I think this class is going to be, some people may wonder around like, well, this is a small class, but I think they're pretty excited about it, and they're probably more excited about what they can find, hopefully, in the portal too.
Mm-hmm. And then after the season, I mean, how have you felt about sort of the outgoing transfer portal? It hadn't been all that active. I think a lot of people thought it would be a little more active. Do you expect it to get active after the season, or can you not really foresee a whole bunch of outgoing transfers?
Oh, I expect it to be active after the season. I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing players who are deciding to make a decision early and get a start on that process. But I think we're going to wait until after the bowl game to see more movement. That's what we saw last year. We saw players leave after the bowl game as well. So I think we're going to see more movement after that. And I think, it's going to be some names that probably people may be surprised at. Just, again, not speculating on things I haven't heard, but from what I've heard, there could be some names that maybe surprise people just looking at some of the tea leaves. Mm-hmm. And so I think we'll have to just wait and see. But I would tell people that, look ahead to the Hawaii Bowl and then keep an eye on what happens in January, because that's usually when players decide to make decisions before, spring ball and everything. That's usually when the motion starts to pick up a little bit. So that's what I would say is to keep an eye on.
Any names to look for in the defensive coordinator search, or is it pretty quiet?
It's quiet at this point. It is telling that tomorrow we're supposed to speak to Mike McIntyre tomorrow, but Memphis has changed their availability to now just getting defensive players. So I imagine when we speak to Silverfield on Wednesday for signing day, he'll let us know who's going to coach the defense in the bowl game. I wouldn't be surprised if obviously you could look at Charles Clark, the secondary coach, Jordan Hankins, who's the linebackers coach, who was previously a defensive coordinator at UT Martin. Wouldn't surprise me if that's the guy they decide to go with for the bowl game. But as far as the full-time position, at this point, it's hard to tell kind of who would be a favorite, for what at this point or whatnot. But who knows? Maybe we'll see what happens over the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And we will. I'm sure we will. And there's some connections that Ryan Silverfield has that a lot of people don't know about through his time in the NFL. And it's quiet right now. I would agree with that sentiment. Now, before we get you out of here, I was in the building on Saturday for the Grizzlies, watching that win, watching Zebo. How I know you were. How was it?
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was perfectly fit for a guy who perfectly fit here. I mean, it was a celebration of what Zach Randolph means to Memphis. It was a celebration of just kind of the importance of what his trade, trading Zach Randolph, how it changed the franchise, because that kind of started this core four renaissance, if you will, because the documentary they showed, and I do recommend everyone take a look at the documentary the Grizzlies did. It was very well done. It was very awesome and hilarious. But it showed kind of what his impact is on this city beyond just basketball. When I talked to him for that story I did on Friday, Zach Randolph said that Memphis is family. This is about, more than just hoops. It's why I wanted to give back, because I saw myself in these people. And that's what that's what Saturday was about. Yep. Love, pride, Memphis, and celebrating a player who hopefully will not be the last jersey retirement that we see over the next few years. Like, we're going to see more this decade, of course. The 4-4 still have 3 more guys who have their jerseys to go. So Saturday was great. I'm glad Memphis got to experience it. It was awesome. And, I mean, come on, hearing whoop that Zach Randolph's jersey went up, I mean, that was pretty perfect, right?
It was awesome. And a loss may have spoiled it a little bit, but not much, because I don't think I saw a single person leave their seat after the game because they knew it was to come, and seeing him in that throne and just the treatment he was getting, that was awesome. But Evan, we appreciate it, man, as always, at Evan_B on Twitter. Thanks, Evan.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Take care.
Appreciate it, man.
Evan Barnes with us talking Tigers and Grizzlies. Look, it's getting closer and closer to the Christmas holidays, and if you're having a party, a last-minute office get-together or family function, let Jason's Deli do all the work. A variety of delicious choices for really every meal, breakfast, lunch, and all-day meals for groups of 5 or 5,000. Check out the most popular choices online. Whatever you choose, you can always count on Jason's Deli for low delivery fees. You can call the local deli for all the details, vegetarian, gluten-free, sensitive options. Same-day and last-minute orders are welcomed. Professional setup included with delivery by delivery drivers who have food handling permits. All the foods are free from dyes, artificial trans fats, and flavors. Processed MSG. House accounts available. Contact customer.service@jasonsdeli.com. They like to say bringing more to the table. It's a family thing, and they deliver with all the different options, plenty of organic food to choose from, the great salad bar inside all the locations. They can bring that to you as well, over 30 items just to choose from the salad bar. If you're in these locations on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, wrap it up with the complimentary ice creams, all the soups, all the salads, all the breads, all the spreads. I love the soups this time of year, the Texas-style chili, that's beanless, and all so good at Jason's Deli. Again, on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. This portion of our show also brought to you by All-Star Chevrolet down on Kraft Goodman Road off Highway 78. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and all the Silverados, all the Tahoes, all the Suburbans, the Blazers, they're all at Olive Branch right there at All-Star Chevrolet. Ask for Kevin or Jeff or Scott or Drew or any of the great team members. They'll check your list, and they'll make sure it happens for the new year. These will go fast, so you better get down there this week. All-Star Chevy friends, they've been spot on through all these years, getting all the best 21s and 22s that you want and all the colors you want. You can see all the Silverados that are there, and if you see a red tag, you look for that red tag because that means an extra $500 bonus cash. 0 for 72 months financing available. Your good credit deserves that, and you'll get it at All-Star Chevrolet. If it's a new Chevy or pre-owned or certified pre-owned Chevy, or if you want to sell any car or truck and get a check today, remember, it's not South Haven, it's not the Pike, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
When we come back, we get to our college football and NFL winners of the weekend, and you know it's Monday, so we have to get to our extreme overreactions from college football and NFL as well. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
The NFL playoffs are almost here, and to help you stay on top of the action, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you a $10 bonus when you place $20 in same-game parlay bets. Bet on a single game or spread your bets out across multiple matchups. It's up to you. As long as you bet $20 in same-game parlays during the same week of NFL action, you're getting a $10 bonus. This same-game parlay bonus is live during weeks 13, 14, and 15, so lock in some winners today and enjoy a $10 bonus on FanDuel. New to FanDuel Sportsbook? Sign up using promo code BIGHEAD to place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. That's promo code BIGHEAD exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
When you needed your mom, she was always there with the Vicks Vapor Rub. She used that soothing scent to calm you. And her mom used it to calm her. And her mom, well, you get the idea. Vicks Vapor Rub's always been there. It always made you feel better. And today, it still does. Bring back those childhood memories with the comfort and care only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, family tradition for a reason.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in to wrap up hour number 2 with our college football and NFL winners and our extreme overreactions, because it's a Monday. If you have any winners or overreactions about what you saw in the NFL or saw, there's only one game in college football, but there's a lot going on off the field. 901-360-8255, AutoZone listener line. Get in the zone. AutoZone. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56WHBQ.com. Let's go ahead and get into it. College football winner. Let's start with Bryant Dacus.
We're going to go with Texas. Getting Quinn Ewers, that's huge. So my winner is Texas and Steve Sarkisian.
Come on.
Of course.
Not here. Not now.
Horns down. Horns down.
I was going to say, get the horns out of here. You got to put it. Only horns we will take are pointed down on this
My
show.
winner and my overreaction, same person. The winner is Bryce Young. The overreaction, 52 weeks from now, we're going to be talking about him joining Archie Griffin.
Ooh.
Book him.
Ooh. I don't know if that's an overreaction. I'm ready. I'm ready for that. My college football winner, Navy football, 17-13, and the underbetters. It's the, 16th in a row? I know what game it is. I know how much of a rivalry.
Well, Future's been rolling that one over.
And how used to the triple option they are. But for a 4-8 Navy football team to beat a pretty good Army football team in that situation at the end of the year, knowing they're not going to get into a bowl game, shout out to them. And also underbetters, 16th in a row. That's pretty good. Do you have the under, Bryant?
I did not play that one. I was out of town, mostly in Mississippi on Saturday in a state that you cannot sports bet.
And my overreaction, I know the best quarterback room in the country in college football. It's the transfer portal. Keaton Slovis.
Clearly.
Miles Brennan, Max
Who's the
Johnson,
head coach
Spencer
in the transfer
Rattler,
portal?
Bo Nix, Zach Calzada, Dylan
Hire
Gabriel.
Urban Meyer to be head coach in the transfer portal.
And have you heard of this guy Cam Ward from Incarnate Word?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Stud FCS quarterback. Stud FCS quarterback. He's
that could be your Ole Miss Rebels starting quarterback opening day against Troy next year.
Really? What about Dylan Gabriel? Where's he at in all this?
Looks like he's going to UCLA now.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. I figured it was a foregone conclusion. He was going to end up at Ole Miss.
A lot of people had it on Ole
There's
Miss.
reports both Spencer Rattler and Gabriel are going to UCLA. That's not going to work.
No. I don't know about that one. So Miles Brennan and Max Johnson both in the transfer portal from LSU. Did you see the Brian Kelly video this weekend?
No, gosh.
For his recruiting.
Yeah.
Oh,
rough stuff.
Brian. Oh gosh, you're proving all those.
Makes me look like John Travolta.
I was going to say you're making all those LSU guys or the people that say that he's not a good.
Did not fit in.
Yeah, you're making them. You're making them right. But
I don't know that Ed Orgeron and Les Miles were Fred Astaire, but.
Who's going to get your college football overreaction and then both your NFL winner and overreaction?
Yeah, well, before I get to my overreaction, I do want to give a quick shout-out to my former teammate, Kip Franklin, who played a lot on that Navy offensive line this year. But my college football overreaction, the NIL and coaching changes are helping fuel the transfer portal, and it's only going to get worse with new recruits coming in. Coaches are having to spend more time recruiting those guys that are already, transferring other places. Those guys that they're recruiting now are going to go and want to transfer to other places. My NFL winner, Falcons, they beat the Panthers. Big win. They're right now prime in the wild card spot. And then my NFL overreaction, people, they'll continue to doubt the Cowboys until they go on.
Who are people?
Well, you're one of them, but people in general.
Wait till my overreaction. It won't be me doubting.
Well, good, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I think we might be all locked in.
They're going to win. They're going to win every game, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. Book it.
I'm right there with you. Cowboys are winning it all. After a few weeks ago, I said they were going to the playoffs. Cowboys are winning it all. And who won the weekend? Number 11, Michael Parsons.
Oh, yes, sir.
DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year.
He sure did. My NFL winner, Chiefs win 48-9 over the Raiders. 9-4, tied for first in the AFC. They're in play for the bye. And you look at their defense, their last 5, they've given up 7, 14, 9, 9, 9.
Good thing we didn't give up on them, isn't it?
4 sacks, 11 QB hits, 5 forced turnovers against Las Vegas. And know what's funny? Brian, you say that we're haters of the Cowboys, and Brett and I both came with the exact same overreaction. Cowboys are
winning it all.
The Super Bowl. I've seen them beat the Patriots late in New England earlier this year. The defense
Jerry Wayne sending in ring sizes right now.
And here's the thing. They didn't choke against a division opponent later in the season. This is a different Cowboys team. We're looking at it. So, Bryant, man.
I appreciate it. I love the love we're getting.
I never want to hear I'm a Cowboys detractor.
It's called overreaction.
Ever again. But that's hour number 2. It's in the books. When we come back for hour number 3, we have a treat at the top of the hour. To Michael Cole, who's the new Commercial Appeal Grizzlies beat writer, will join us 5:30. We get to Monday Night Football preview and pick. Rams versus Arizona, big interdivisional game. And we'll also get to our big 4 defensive players for both teams. 5:45, we'll get out with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
Is your bank standing in the way of you and your sportsbook? Try Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. No more bank delays or failures. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
The Memphis Tigers are once again teaming up with the city of Memphis for the annual Tiger Toy Drive to help families in need during the holiday season. Bring a new unwrapped toy to the women's game against Southern December 4th and you'll get free admission to the door. In addition, if you bring a new unwrapped toy to either men's game against Murray State December 10th or Alabama December 14th, you'll receive up to 2 free tickets to the Alabama State game December 21st. Come watch the Tigers and donate to a great cause.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour 3 begins, and we will visit with DeMichael Cole, the fabulously talented writer that's now going to be on the Grizzlies beat for the Commercial Appeal. We look forward to our first of, I hope, many visits with DeMichael and wish him so much success. Look forward to visiting him momentarily. But first, let me tell you about the title sponsor of this hour. That's DeSoto Auto Sales. Through all these many years, and we appreciate it. They wish everyone a happy holiday season and a Merry Christmas. They're at 5704 Goodman Road. Online at DeSotoAutosales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, enjoy, and very much trust at DeSoto Auto Sales, where all the cars are test-driven, checked out thoroughly. Every make, every model, no shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family. They have a courteous staff. They want you to enjoy that down-home environment, no high-pressure sales. They care about your time. and that ultimate car experience that they guarantee. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive a car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less, because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. That's why they keep it simple and efficient at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road, online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
And we bring in DeMichael Cole at DeMichael C. on Twitter, formerly of the Philly Inquirer, covering sports culture, sneaker style, combat sports for them. But now he's headed back home. Memphis is where he is from to cover the Grizzlies for the CA. DeMichael, first off, congrats, man. Had to put it out here in a public forum, man.
Oh, appreciate you. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
And welcome home.
Right.
Man, great. I'm glad to be here, man. I've just, been settling in, going to all my favorite food spots and, catching up with the fam a little bit. All that good stuff, before we get started next week, on the job.
And DeMichael, you're coming in at a great time with the Grizzlies playing really well, playing without Ja Morant, his return almost any day now, and a big one tonight. But you're coming in at a really good time.
Right, and I mean that's a big part of it, right? I mean it's a solid team, and I think what's happening right now is just. This is really big for Memphis because, I was telling some guys on the national level, when you think of Memphis, you think of Ja Morant as this, explosive budding superstar. And you may, Jaren Jackson comes to mind for some people. Mm-hmm. And then it's like a bunch of young guys who are gritty and do the small things. That's on a national level. But locally now with, the last 8 games in the streak that they've run off without Ja Morant, people can say, hold up, like, maybe Kyle Anderson is a little bit better than we thought. Or
right.
Check out what Dylan Brooks is more than, a really good defender. Or DeAnthony Melton is really making some big shots for them. And Desmond Bane is putting himself in the most improved conversation. Like, you're really starting to see the depth of this team. And it's waking a lot of people up to the potential of this court.
And DeMichael, I know it's hard to talk about yourself a lot of times, but tell our listeners about yourself, where you come from, where you went to school, how you got into this line of work. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, man. Born, like we said earlier, born and raised in Memphis. All the way up. I mean, Memphis is all I ever knew until the age of 18, and that's when I went to the University of Tennessee. Sports journalism was always something I wanted to do. This is something I've always been passionate about. I went to Overton High School in Memphis. I went to American Way Middle School, which produced a lot of the big collegiate athletes that have come from, Dedrick Lawson, Dylan Mitchell, plenty more. I could keep going on and on about that. But Overton High School, and I played baseball there. And when I got to college, I went to the University of Tennessee. It was a tough choice all the way around, but money talks, as they say. Got a great opportunity there. Sports journalism, like I said, was always my focus growing up all the way. I played baseball, and I played football when I was younger. And, I loved the game of basketball just as much as those two. Like, I was always just deeply embedded with all 3 of those sports and even more sports. But, mainly those 3 because that's, what we had the most access to. Mm-hmm. But, so I got to college and, my mindset in college was just to work. I knew I was at an SEC school. I knew I was going to have ample opportunity in terms of to network with really good writers, to just connect with people who know people who know people.
Right.
And that's all I did. I mean, I worked a lot. My senior year, I had 4 jobs. I just worked at all the local papers in the area, except I didn't get to work at the News Sentinel my senior year, Knox News Sentinel, but I did some freelance work for the Maryville Daily Times, Roane County News. I also had my own radio show, and then I worked at the student newspaper, the Daily Beacon. So I did all 4 of those things, mixed them into my schedule, and I got my big break after I got an internship with Sports Journalism Institute. Sports Journalism Institute is, without a doubt, the top minority journalism internship for juniors and seniors in the business. It's produced some of the big, writers in the business now. Baxter Holmes, ESPN, who broke the Sun story recently. Malika Andrews, Cam Wolf at NFL Network, former Dolphins reporter. The the list goes on. I mean, but it's produced some of the best minority journalists in the business. So I got that big break with 12 of the best young journalists in the business. That opportunity led me into internship at Sports Illustrated the summer after my last year of college, which was May 2019. So I went to Sports Illustrated, got a great opportunity there for 2.5 months, got great experience, met some great writers, great editors. And from there, I mean, September, I was at the Enquirer. A great run at the Enquirer, 2.5 years. I started off mainly covering college basketball, but I started branching out, doing a lot more. I got bumped to full-time last year. So I had a 2-year fellowship initially, and, the fellowship went well enough to the point they wanted to keep me on for full-time, and they created a position for me. I was the first ever sports culture writer at the Enquirer. We were on the pace to do some really nice things. We started off doing some really good, cultural, historical stories where we dived into like Negro League baseball history, or whether you just do historical components from the things that's going on with each of those teams. And then you do the fun stuff, which I'm planning to bring, to the Grizzlies as well. The style, the sneaker things, those are things that I did a lot of as well. So yeah, that's my story, man. But it all led me back home.
Michael, what a beautiful success story of hard work, of intellect, and the ability to translate that for to the readers in one of the most competitive times that we've ever been in. You mentioned the Beacon, the Daily Beacon, the student newspaper at University of Tennessee at Knoxville. David Cobb, just recently, right before you were there, he was part of that staff, and way back, one of the sports writing legends in Memphis, George Lapidus, back in his college days. George was very active at the Daily Beacon. So you keep that light burning very well. I know that light burning on that UT campus is big, and you keep it burning very well. You have really distinguished yourself, DeMichael. Congratulations.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. That's the goal, right? Just, each year, just trying to find that new way of just making myself better and getting to that next level. And every year I just outline a few things and try to knock them out by the end of each year. And that's all I try to do.
So you covered sports culture in Philly for the Enquirer. I'm curious about this because I come from St. Louis, and obviously there's a strong sports culture, especially when you talk about the Cardinals and everything else, the Blues to a certain extent. It was the St. Louis Rams, but we don't have to talk about that. With being in Philly, coming back, how strong do culture and sports coincide in the city of Memphis, in your opinion, from your travels and seeing other cities?
Man, it's huge. I would always say, leaving Memphis was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I was in Memphis 18 years, and even when I left Memphis, I'd only been in the South. Before I went to Sports Illustrated in New York City and went to the Enquirer in Philly, I'd never left the South in my life. Mm-hmm. So this culture was all I knew. And even, I've been pretty much to most of the states in the South, but that was all I knew. And Memphis was all I ever knew. So with that being said, just getting that experience to leave Memphis, it kind of gives you a sense of pride in being, from there, because you see how other states and how other cities do things culturally, and it's like, no, we do it this way.
Right.
Or this is what you say, John, we say Junt, or you say man, we say man, or it's certain things like that just brings out that fire. It's like, oh, you like this type of food, we like barbecue, we like smoked ribs. Oh, we got honey goat sauce. Like, it's just certain things like that.
Memphis is one of those cities, though, if you hear somebody from Memphis, if you talk to somebody, immediately they're from Memphis. It distinguishes itself more than other cities I've been to, right? 100%. It's unbelievable.
100%. And it's funny because, like I said, I was in Philly 2.5 years, and being in Philly, it got to the point, I think, maybe 6 months in, I started to catch on, because I'd always, once I had a lot of interviews with people, or if I was in Ubers and talking to people, about 30 seconds to a minute into most of my conversations, people would just stare at me. And, at first, I'd have to figure it out. But after like 6 or so months, I'm like, oh, you're trying to figure out where I'm from, aren't you? Or they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're from somewhere in the South, let's say Memphis, or they'll say little cities in the South and stuff like that. But, yeah, man, culture and sport it's it's basically, you know, just how life and sport intersect, and it's a bigger part of sports than ever because a lot of these players are outspoken on so many more things, and they do so many things in the community where you have to, you know, be able to capture that picture just as well as a game story.
DeMichael, tell our listeners, is it true or is it overdone? Is Philly that rough and tumble a sports town?
Man, 100%. I mean, I'm from Memphis, and you know, I know how rough it is in Memphis. So, like, I feel like, you know, being from Memphis, I had my, you know, share of like overcoming things like that. But Philly, man, it is what the people say it is. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't, like, there's no hyperbole to it. Those people are super passionate. I think when I first got there, at the Enquirer, I think one of my first stories that I did was a boxing story, historical piece on a promoter there who had celebrated 50 years in the business. So, you know, I'm talking about boxers from 40 plus years ago.
Joe Frazier.
Yeah, Joe Frazier, and a lot of the local middleweight legends from that era. So basically what happened was, you know, I cited all the boxers and whatnot, and I didn't include the nicknames of the boxers in it. I just said first and last name. And that's how just meticulous they are. I got a couple emails, and they're like, oh, you got this young guy covering boxing now, and or why didn't you put the Worm in front of William, in between William Monroe's first and last name? And I'm like, man, but I loved it though, you know? I mean, it really challenged me to get that much better, to be just that much articulate with the smallest of details, because if you're not, they're knowledgeable too, and they'll stretch you. Like,
they'll see right through it.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll stretch you. But man, that's why a lot of big time writers have come from, you know, that Enquirer, Philly Daily News area, because those fans really make you better, because you can't be lazy with anything. You can't be lazy in this business, period. But they'll get you out of the business if you're lazy. Like,
yep.
It's serious, man.
So, curiously, I know you're going to be objective on the beat regardless of the situation. Do you have any NBA allegiance as far as fandom goes?
And as a little guy, who was your guy on the Grizzlies?
You said who's my guy on the Grizzlies?
Well, as far as
your
fandom,
you were growing up,
are you a Grizzlies fan?
Okay, no, I wasn't a Grizzlies fan.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking.
I was. Now when we were younger, you know, second, third grade, we got like the Shane Battier and Pau Gasol posters. And
you just made me feel really old.
I didn't. I tried. Look, I'm trying not to do that, but you know, I just turned
shoe fits wearing.
I make him feel like that every day, man. It's all good.
So yeah, we got the Shane Battier, Bonzi Wells, and Pau Gasol posters. So me and my brother, you know, we put them in our room, and they were like almost like fathead size posters. So I wasn't, you know, like a Grizzlies fan, but, you know, going to Grizzlies games and experiencing, you know, the Grizzlies and you know, just seeing how the city started to embrace them more and more, it was so fun. Like I tell people, in my opinion, I mean, you may have a different opinion, but I feel like pre-2011, that era, there wasn't really a defined thing that you could correlate to Memphis Grizzlies basketball. You know, we had good players, but this team didn't have a real identity until the grit and grind era came. And once that era came, I mean, now in Philly, you know, people, when they think Memphis basketball, they say words like grit to me. Like when I say, oh, I'm from Memphis, and we talk about the Grizzlies, that's what comes to mind. I don't think there was something that came to mind to people pre-2011, 2010, when, you know, we had the core four and those guys really came in and, you know, shaped the culture. So that was huge. But yeah, I didn't grow up a Grizzlies fan, but I went to games and you know, did stuff like that.
Did you grow up a fan of any team in particular?
Yeah. I was a Phoenix Suns fan.
Okay.
So
still
Steve
to a certain
Nash,
extent, or no? If you dropped it?
I mean, now I can't. I mean, I can't do that. But,
I hear you. I hear you, man. I hear you.
But growing up, Steve Nash, Stoudemire, pick and roll, Joe
Mm-hmm.
Johnson, Sean Marion. Like, you know, they were, as a kid, I feel like you're more catered to what's fun to watch. That's why now we're starting to see a lot of kids like that are getting a little bit older now that are Golden State fans because they came up in that 2014, and you're going to see even more like in the next 5 to 10 years because Stephen Curry is that guy. Like,
and Ja will have the ability to have people gravitate to him.
Exactly. Ja has that. He will definitely have that type of leverage. But yeah, I remember specifically like in my 6th and 7th grade classes, there were a lot of Phoenix Suns fans like in our classrooms because, you know, they were just fun to watch. It was the best offense in the league every year. Nash was winning MVPs and you know, stuff like that. But yeah. It was
Mike, I like your perspective around the 2010-2011 stretch because I described it this way. I said up until about that point, it felt like we were dues payers and really not a member of the NBA. And after knocking off the 8th seed, as the 8th seed beating the 1, from that point on, the root grew deeper, and we were finally kind of welcomed into the League of Nations. We were a real member.
Yep. It's exactly how it was. I mean, that's exactly how it went because, I mean, you remember, I mean, the Grizzlies didn't even win a playoff game. I mean, they were getting swept, and like, it was like, okay, they made the playoffs. Yeah, okay. All right, what happens next? And you know, when that core came in and gave them that identity, and I think the best part about it is it wasn't really pretty. Like it really represented Memphis culture. Like, it wasn't like we just mentioned the Suns. It wasn't like those 7 seconds or less Suns, or it wasn't like the Dirk Nowitzki Mavericks of that time, or you know, those type teams. It was rugged. It was really Memphis culture, and that's why like Zebo, you know, who just got celebrated here, gets so much love here because he is Memphis. Like, and that core group, they are Memphis. Like, it's kind of crazy how much the way they played basketball correlated to like the identity of the city.
Yeah, and stylistically, like on the court, the team now with Ja and Jaren and Dylan Brooks, not the same. I mean, it's up and down. They want to play offense, but Ja and Jaren and these guys have embraced the culture of Memphis to a T. Like, they have come in here and they have really embraced all of the people, the movers and shakers in the city, and that's something you certainly want to see in a young team. Now, for this year, for this season, what do you think the Grizzlies' ceiling is? Right now, they sit at 4th. They're 16-11. They've been without Ja. They've won a lot of games here, 7 of 8. But what do you think the ceiling is this year for this team?
I think the ceiling is honestly where they're at right now, 4th, 5th seed, and maybe second round. You know, get a matchup in. But I think they're playing really good basketball. And just going back to what you were saying about, you know, just the difference in you know, these players to the grit and grind era, I think one thing that I like to tell people just that I think is while that core group, the way they played was more, you know, was more relative to like the Memphis culture, I think these players, the way they act is more like their personalities. Like, Dylan Brooks, you know, like their personalities are more catered to Memphis, whereas on the court they're a little bit different. But I see 4th, 5th seed, like where they're at right now is a ceiling, and I say that because one, I think that top 3 is probably pretty much going to be locked in most of the season. Where I mean, Suns, Jazz, Warriors, it's going to take like some weird stuff to. They're playing really, all 3 of them are playing really good basketball, and then. Now you're saying the Grizzlies have to stay in that 4-5 range, which you're going to have to play, you know, some real good, probably 65%. You're going to have to win probably 67% of games, you know, in this latter stretch to hold that 4th and 5th spot. Because I think what a lot of people still, for some reason, aren't talking about is Jamal Murray is going to get back, and the Nuggets are going to return to that last year's form teams where they were the number 2 seed. You know, most of the season, number 3 seed most of the season. And then the Clippers are going to get Kawhi Leonard back. And, I mean, I think they'll be, you know, in that range somewhere. I still think the Grizzlies, you know, can go toe-to-toe with them. But they'll be in that, you know, they'll be there. Right. And then the Lakers, I mean, you know, they're playing mediocre right now, but there's just something I can't count out a veteran team that's going to figure it out over the course. Like, 25 games into a season, they're probably yawning. We'll All-Star break. So it's like with those three teams and what the Grizzlies are doing, and some of these teams are going to make some moves. I feel like that 4 or 5 range is the ceiling for this season. Now you're talking about long term. You got a nice thing going.
Yep. Long term, certainly higher aspirations than just the 4 or 5 seed. But hey, right now, the fact that they're there, they're ahead of schedule. There's no question about it. Real quick, when's your first official day on the beat?
Monday.
Okay,
Monday. So yeah, it's funny because my first game will be the first time that they're playing Oklahoma City since the worst beatdown in NBA history. So,
right. Hopefully another one like that.
I said I'd make a bold prediction that the result wouldn't be as lopsided this time around.
That's right. You're not taking the Grizzlies minus 72.5. I take it.
Oh, no doubt about it.
I hear you, man. But we appreciate it. He is DeMichael Cole. Monday will be his first day on the beat for the commercial appeal for the Grizzlies. DeMichael, we appreciate the heck out of it. We'll do it again in the future.
Man, let's make it happen anytime. Thank you guys for having me.
You got it. DeMichael, thank you, and good luck. It just sounds – you can just hear how excited he is, and I love the story of the hard work and the academics, and now back home. Really nice story. At Belly Acres, their motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. Their goal, it's simple, provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family, and they've done it at 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. And a third great location, it's on the way, late spring, early summer at Silo Square. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers like the Daria, you got to try the Voodoo Moo, the Double Daria, all so good. It's a quality brand the Belly Acres team, they've developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings right here in a fun farm setting in the city. They've done it. The goal at Belly Acres is to become even more sustainable as they grow. They've done that as well. In Overton Square and in Regalia, and come late spring, early summer, the third great location in Silo Square. The very best quality available in Memphis. It's burgers, shakes, and smiles at Bell Acres. I want to tell you, get down to All-Star Chevrolet before the new year. You got to start 2022 in one of those beautiful Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans, and Blazers, all at Olive Branch off Highway 78 at Kraft Goodman Road. Call Scott, call Drew, call Jeff, call Kevin. Check that list, and they'll make it happen for you in the new year. They're going to go fast, so you need to get down there this week. All-Star Chevy, they've been right there with us all these years, getting all the best 21s and the 22s that you want and need, all the colors you want. You can go down and see the Silverados. They're there. If you see a red tag, look for the red tag, and that's an extra $500 bonus cash. $500 if it's a red tag on it. 0 for 72 financing available. Your good credit deserves that. If it's a new Chevy or pre-owned or certified pre-owned Chevy you want to sell, any car or truck, get a check today. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike. It's got to be All-Star Chevrolet at Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
I know we're going to talk American football when we come back from the break. Do our Monday Night Football breakdown, Rams at Cardinals. We'll have that on 560 AM, 98.5 FM. But come on, did you guys catch the Canadian Football League Grey Cup? Grey Cup was this weekend. You didn't catch it?
And the shake-up with Everton and the other football over there. I thought that's where you were going.
Blue Bombers win 33-25 in OT. There was like a
Go
tip.
Bombers.
It was a tip ball, tip drill situation. They ended up catching it. It was the number 1 play on Top 10 plays on SportsCenter.
What kind of weather did they play in? Usually
it was cold. It
was
wasn't raining.
Yeah, but the conditions
snow?
were nice.
But guess who they
Global
sent
warming
home?
got us again.
Guess who they sent home empty-handed? Jeremiah Masoli. He's been over there. He's been doing it for a while in the CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And for Ole Miss next year, it looks like it's going to be kind of a plug-and-play one-year guy. And Jeremiah Masoli was the last strictly one-year guy at Ole Miss, and he was great that year. The rest of the team wasn't, but he was.
And Bo Marchant, who will be joining us tomorrow, he's a Blue Bomber scout.
He is.
There's a reason they won.
Yeah.
They have a great scouting department. Good for them. Shout out to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers
with
on
the 55-yard midfield line.
Yeah.
It was 4-0 early in the first quarter.
Oh, I love a rouge.
Yeah.
The rouge is my favorite play in sports.
33-25 in OT. Blue Bombers taking the Canadian Football
I
League.
went to a Canadian Football League game here in town that finished 4-0.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's rare in that league. That's rare.
yeah.
Well, I don't know how.
And it was about 110 degrees.
Because now it's so fast-paced, up and down, passing the entire game. There's not really – they don't do a whole lot
Was
of run
it 4-zip or 8-zip? It was one or the other.
Yeah. They've had a
It was a
transition.
snooze fest.
They've had a transition, though, with their football. They don't – I mean, it is all passing, all pass rushing. That's all they do.
Well, you only have 3 downs. You got to move the ball.
Yeah, you got to get going. You got to get going. You got to get going quick. But when we come back on the other side, we'll talk American football. I know everybody knows about American football. We'll talk Rams at Cardinals tonight, Monday Night Football, and give you our big 4 defensively for both teams right here on Sports 56 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and that means it's time for the most wonderful meal. And in downtown Memphis, that means 117 Prime. Celebrate the holidays by giving yourself and your loved ones the gift of Prime. With the amazing steaks, the extensive wine program, and add in the oyster bar, the perfect house-made desserts, and one of the best selections of bourbon anywhere in the city, and you have the recipe for a meal to remember. Soak in the cozy atmosphere while enjoying the one-of-a-kind service, and you have the perfect way to ring out the old year and ring in the new. For wonderful, you want 117 Prime.
The NFL playoffs are almost here, and to help you stay on top of the action, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you a $10 bonus when you place $20 in same-game parlay bets. Bet on a single game or spread your bets out across multiple matchups. It's up to you. As long as you bet $20 in same-game parlays during the same week of NFL action, you're getting a $10 bonus. This same-game parlay bonus is live during weeks 13, 14, and 15, so lock in some winners today and enjoy a $10 bonus on FanDuel. New to FanDuel Sportsbook? Sign up using promo code CASH to place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. That's promo code CASH exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Talking to you about my friends at Louis Deli and Meat Market in Arlington, because not only are you going to see the quality in their meats, but you're going to taste the quality in every bite. Let Louis take some of the hassle out of your holiday season by pre-ordering for your get-togethers, like I did for Thanksgiving with the spiral slice ham, boneless turkey breast, beef tenderloin, meat and cheese tray, or a boneless or bone-in ribeye roast. Deadline to pre-order is December 18th. Maybe you're looking for stocking stuffers. At Louis, you'll find a huge assortment of barbecue rubs, sauces, and seasonings, and a Louis gift card that will make a perfect stocking stuffer for the person who likes to grill. So stop by Louis today, and while you're there, register to win a Komodo Joe grill. You gotta hurry, though. The drawing is Wednesday, December 22nd. No purchase necessary. Visit Louis Deli and Meat Market, located in Arlington at 11695 Highway 70, just 1/4 of a mile east of Highway 385. Locally and veteran-owned. Louis Deli and Meat Market. It's quality you can see and taste.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a matchup preview featuring the top 2 teams in the NFC West, the Cardinals and the Rams. Arizona has the best record in the league at 10-2, and their star quarterback Kyler Murray came back from a month-long ankle injury with 2 touchdowns in the air and 2 on the ground against the Bears. Murray says it was good to be back in action.
Yeah, it felt good. I mean, just to be out there, moving around, kind of, being myself, just playing the game that I love to play with these guys. It was fun. Glad we got the win. It's great to be back.
Matthew Stafford and the Rams are 8-4, looking to avenge their loss to the Cardinals back in Week 4. Kevin Harlan and a Hall of Famer named Kurt Warner will have the call on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to PrilosecOTC.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. More details at AutoZone.com.
It's time to call Doug and Colin Brown for your house. Looking to buy or sell a home in Mississippi? Rely on Doug and Colin Brown, $1 Million Realtors at Regency Realty in Mississippi. This father-son combo will help you find your next dream home. With decades of experience, Doug and Colin Brown put honesty, integrity, and clients first. Call Doug and Colin Brown in Mississippi at 901-598-9168. Regency Realty, 901-350-5050.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
How much fun was it visiting with Michael Cole, new on the beat for the Commercial Appeal? Hometown products, you could just tell, just brimming with enthusiasm to start the job. Glad to have him back home, and we know one of the staples of hometown of Memphis, of our area. And it's two great places, the new Collierville Commissary, Houston Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. And it's not too late. You need to get on that list right now for the holiday bird, the hickory smoked turkey with all the trimmings. Holiday pricing for whole turkeys and hams. If you had it the first go around, well, that's the advertisement. You know about it. If you didn't, you missed out, and you don't want to miss out twice this holiday season. All the sides like the gravy, the quarter dressing, sweet potato casserole, the desserts. For this time of year, the seasonal pecan pie, so very good. And the bulk pricing, minimum of 10, turkey and dressing with gravy, $7.95 per person. Turkey and ham with dressing and gravy, $8.95 per person. Cranberry sauce can be added. All that great food, either you can get at the Germantown Commissary by calling 754-5540 or the Collierville Commissary at 979-5540, or you can go online at commissarybbq.com. And, of course, the ribs, the barbecue that made it famous, the barbecue nachos that were originated at the commissary in the early 80s. Smoked chicken wings, all those appetizers, also good. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733. The ribs, the shoulder, also good. Don't forget the party packs like the 6-pack or the 8-pack or the 12-pack. I mentioned the pecan pie, the lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, also good at either place. The new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year from Walker Taylor and all of his staff to you and yours. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Before we get to the Rams at Cardinals Monday Night Football preview pick, Big Four, have to bring this up. The Jags are 2-11. Jags are in a bad spot. Just lost 20-0 to the Titans. And before the game this weekend, before we got to Sunday, there was an interesting report put out by Around the NFL, by basically, Brett, NFL state-run media about Urban Meyer and the internal strife going on in the Jags organization. There's been run-ins with players and coaches. Apparently, they're saying he's shifting blame to everyone but himself for being 2-11. James Robinson, their star running back, got benched last week because he fumbled. Trevor Lawrence came out and says he cannot be off the field. He needs to be on the field if they want to win. Apparently, in a meeting with coaches, he told assistant coaches, Urban Meyer, of course, that he's a winner and they're losers. And then,
spoken like a true champ.
After losing to the Titans, he looked, I don't know if you saw his walk across to shake Mike Vrabel's hand. He looked 100 years old, and he looked dejected. He looked like he's
destroyed.
Done.
He does, and you're right about state-run media. They don't like a college guy, and Urban Meyer's the easy foil. There's plenty not to like about him. How his exit at Ohio State was, the groping incident earlier this year, bad look all the way around. It's all indefensible, but also, and I'll say it again, almost the entire blame. It's like he was an accomplice to Aaron Hernandez, and he had him 4 years at Florida. Big game Bobby Kraft had him as a grown man. Bill Belichick had him as a grown man. They get none of the blame. Right. It's like Urban Meyer was an accomplice to the crimes.
I've got to say this, though. It's been, as far as the Jaguars are concerned with Urban Meyer, it's been a train wreck from start to finish. This offseason was embarrassing. People didn't really want him to get hired.
But what's new with the Jags? Aren't they always a train wreck?
This is worse, though, because you hire Chris Doyle, who's shamed from Iowa. You have to. He resigns because of public pressure. You bring in Tim Tebow, which was a distraction in the offseason. That didn't work out. Then you get into the season, and you have the groping incident. Now you have this coming out from NFL reporters.
Never good to have a groping incident.
I just put it as that.
That always sets you back.
In passing, just calling it
the combination of St. Tebow and a groping incident, you've kind of tried the alpha and omega of trying things.
And then, I didn't even mention this. Today in his presser, when they talked about the game, he was asked about their safety, Andre Sisco, and his playing time. Is he going to get more playing time? And what he said, he's been playing more lately. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Andre Sisco played 0 snaps yesterday.
Take that.
He probably didn't know who he is.
He played 0 snaps yesterday.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know who's on the field right now. It's just it's been a disaster. And I know Shad Khan really wanted Urban for a long time, but you can't sit there and let this happen for much longer if you're an owner of a football
feel like
team.
It's going to last much longer, but shouldn't somebody go in and tell the Jags, you're losers, because they are, and they have been. You're lucky Memphis didn't have a newer stadium than it had.
Generally speaking, it's bad for morale to tell all of the people under you that they're all losers. Generally bad for morale.
Not very good for morale.
That's what I'd say.
It's not.
But hey, people are motivated in different ways. At least that's what my football coaches told me growing up.
But a big one tonight on the field.
Yes.
For Arizona, this really gives them clearance. I mean, they're off in good shape. For the Rams, I had the Rams winning it all this year. They're not going to win it all. But they lose tonight, they could be in jeopardy of not making the playoffs, couldn't they?
And what's been happening down the stretch with the Rams in some of these games, they're just a little bit too soft. And that's always sort of been the knock on Sean McVay's teams. But this year it's definitely showing. They have the talent. They have Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford in primetime's not all that great, but he is a good quarterback. They've done a little better
Henderson
offensively
tonight because of COVID. They have a lot of COVID outs tonight.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I have Jalen Ramsey, Darrell Henderson Jr., Rob Havenstein. There was some question about Tyler Higbee, their starting tight end. I'm not sure if he's in or out. I know he's
out.
He was taking PCR tests to try to get a couple negatives before. It's been bad, though. You saw today there's been 37 positive COVID tests in the NFL just today. So
it's really bad around
catching
the
up
NFL.
To us.
It's we already see the game canceled in the NBA. 2 games canceled in the NBA. And around college basketball, you're getting teams between the flu and being understaffed, undermanned, personnel-wise. It's a good time for a scratch. I just wonder if it hits the bowl season as we get into it tonight. Arizona -3.5. We had some bad weekend picking. I went 2-4. Bryant went 2-4. Thank goodness for the Pack last night. Gabe got that win to go 1-5. Give me the Rams tonight plus the 3.5.
It was just a tough weekend for picking. Let's be honest about it.
It was brutal.
I'm going to go Cards minus the 3.5. All these COVID scratches make me concerned about the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cards as well. Like you said, just the COVID bug. It makes me lean to the Cards.
Yes. Although the one thing before all these COVID I was going to take the Rams before the COVID scratches because I think there's something to be learned about how bad they got killed the first time around. They did not look good in this
usually
game.
When you threw the word out there, and it's one of the worst descriptions you can have. You said soft for the Rams, and that's kind of been the knock. Usually when you hear soft, you're talking about a defense. I don't think it's the Rams' defense that's soft. I think it's the Rams' offensive line. I don't think it's meat grinder enough.
Yeah, it's stylistically they just never have. Todd Gurley had he had a couple really good years behind Sean McVay O-lines. But since then, they haven't really got that run game going. There's no question about it. And getting Cam Akers hurt before the year was did we highlight that enough as a big issue for
Probably
them?
didn't.
Probably not.
Probably didn't appreciate that enough. All right, the defensive players all the time. We did the Rams a few weeks ago, 1 through 4. So I'll go 5 through 8. I'll start. I was really on the fence the last time we did it 1 through 4. So got to start with Rosie Greer. I love Bryant's addition of Nolan Cromwell. I'll go Fred Dreyer, and I'll go another fearsome foursome player, Lamar Lundy.
There it is. I'll go 5 through 8. I'm going to go a little different direction. I go Kevin Green, obviously a Hall of Famer, 160 sacks.
I had him
in his
last
career.
time.
I did. He was barely out of my top 4. And then this is a guy who will be on both of my lists. Just a spoiler alert. Aeneas Williams, Hall of Famer, 3-time All-Pro, 8-time All-Pro. 3, I go London Fletcher. He started his career with the Rams. He's a tackle maniac throughout his career. And then for 4, who's having a revitalized year with the Bears this year, I go Robert Quinn. He was really good with the Rams.
Really good list. Bryant?
I am going to go with number 4. I'm going to go Kevin Carter. Number 3, I had to go all the way back for this one, but you are going to like it. Les Richter, linebacker and kicker.
Okay.
Number 2, Isaiah Robertson, and number 1, Eddie Meter.
Wait, you said Les Richter?
Isaiah Robertson.
Did you get to see him play? I thought that was your rule.
When you have a linebacker and kicker combo, I mean, yeah, we're so deep in it. Yeah.
Isaiah Robertson was one of the big hits all time. Google it at the YouTube of Earl Campbell. For the football Cardinals, for the Big Red, we wanted to go Arizona only. That really limited it. Number 1, Patrick Peterson for me. Number 2, Aeneas Williams. 3, played his entire career with the Cardinals, Darnell Dockett. And number 4, I don't know if he was this meritorious on the field for what he did and what he ultimately, the sacrifice he ultimately paid, Pat Tillman.
I did the exact same thing. I'll go 4 to 1. I had Pat Tillman, had to put him on my list for the sacrifice he made for this country. 3, Calais Campbell. 2, I went Aeneas Williams. 1, I go Patrick Peterson.
I went number 4, Darnell Dockett. Number 3, Carlos Dansby. Number 2, Adrian Wilson. And then number 1, Pat Peterson.
You want to see something really sad and just make you question the whole thing. Was it worth it? Tell us the truth. You go to Pat Tillman's page at Pro Football Ref, and you see, and they have, born in the city you're born in, and then, died in, I can't even begin to pronounce the place, in some faraway province in Afghanistan, and it was friendly fire.
Friendly fire. That's
so preventable, and of course, the first reaction from our government was to tell us a big lie. About his passing. Just tell us the truth. We can handle it.
Yeah, that tends to happen. That tends to happen in this country. Now, when we come back, we'll hopefully lighten the mood a tad bit. We'll get to Taco Bell crunch time, and we'll do that right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin. I want to wish all of you the happiest and healthiest of holidays. It begins with Christmas and goes through New Year's, and I want you all to have the best of times. And a reminder, I've got a new show. It's from 10 to 11. It's called Wallow and Friends.
The Christmas sale is happening now at Family Leisure. Did you know that's where Santa goes to shop? Oh, yes. Why? Because arcades are up to 25% off. Air hockey and foosball tables, they start at just $149.99. You can get great deals on hot tubs and saunas. Let me tell you, that is perfect for the winter weather. Trampolines, up to 20% off. This is the best time to buy. Pool tables and shuffleboard tables in stock and ready for delivery. They're not waiting on a boat somewhere. Speaking of delivery, those schedules are filling up very, very fast. So reserve your date now, just in time for Christmas. It's the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. It's happening now. Remember, shop early, shop local, and shop where Santa shops. It's Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40. It's where family and fun come together for the holidays.
When you needed your mom, she was always there with the Vicks Vapor Rub. She used that soothing scent to calm you. And her mom used it to calm her. And her mom, well, you get the idea. Vicks Vapor Rub's always been there. It always made you feel better. And today, it still does. Bring back those childhood memories with the comfort and care only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, family tradition for a reason.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
So who's hitting the road for the holidays? I know there's a lot of people who want to get their car, truck, or SUV road ready. How about you? Gotta love this news from our friends at Auto Universe Germantown, 7300 Winchester, just off 385. Get this, full service maintenance with no wait time, and you can get an appointment for any day. That's unreal. Big discounts right now for everything from brake service and wheel alignment to replacing wiper blades, rotating tires, checking the battery, even servicing the transmission. Call Auto Universe Germantown today and ask for Robert. Great deal on the oil change and brake check. Or ask about the deal on the radiator service. There really is no wait time. Call for an appointment and get it done. Professional detailing is 20% off now, and you can get paintless dent removal in the Collision Center. Happy holidays from Auto Universe Germantown. Incredible selection of pre-owned luxury vehicles and full service with no wait time. 7300 Winchester or eautouniverse.com.
Visit Frontier Western Store this holiday season and check out new goodies for under the tree. Frontier added so many new items in their women's boutique. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops, jeans, and pants at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier's your #1 Carhartt store. There's no one with a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear. Wrangler and Ariat clothing are also available. Frontier recently remodeled and expanded the world-famous boot showroom. Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. After some Ariat boots, then check out Frontier. There are over 1,000 pair of Ariat boots alone and thousands more in other brands such as Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. As if the selection isn't reason enough, there's Frontier's low prices. Frontier's everyday pricing is lower than online and chain stores. So when you're ready for your next pair of boots, you know right where to come. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today, a couple of notes on the men's and women's college basketball polls. In the men's, top 10, Baylor, Duke, Purdue, UCLA, Gonzaga, Alabama, Kansas, Arizona, Villanova, and Southern Cal. USC, Boogie Ellis home, gets into the top 10. But with Baylor at number 1, this marks the 4th new number 1 in 4 weeks in college basketball. A lot of parity. I don't know what team is on the very top, but we will have to see come tournament time. Also, in the women's poll, UConn has dropped 4 spots to number 7 in the AP Top 25, which was released today. That's their lowest ranking in 14 years. How great is that? Number 7 is a bad ranking for a college basketball team.
I bet Gino's fun to be around with that happening.
I guess so.
I learned today the Tigers have a lot of problems. It starts with coaching, but also goes to personnel. I think some of it, sadly, is just vastly overrated. We know Moussa Cisse was overrated, but I'm afraid the same for Alex Lomax, Malcolm Dandridge, Lester Quinones, and some others. I don't know many coaches that could get much more out of them than's been gotten out of them. I don't know if it's there. I think it's overdone. They were overrated.
Mm-hmm. I could have done without that. I'll tell you that. But I also could have done without all of the COVID going on right now. 37 positive tests in the NFL. And then when you look around basketball, when you look around the NBA, the Bulls had 10 players in protocol. Hornets had 5. The Grizzlies, we know, had 2. We know Dylan Brooks got out of it. The NBA has postponed the Bulls versus Pistons game on Tuesday and the Bulls versus Raptors game on Thursday in response to the 10 players in protocol. COVID and this new variant is starting to amp back up.
Well, for positive tests, we don't really have anybody sick from it, do we?
I'm not fully positive. I don't have that information.
I don't think so.
I know the positive tests are a lot higher.
And the positive tests are going to remain through time immemorial, infinitum. We're going to have positive tests. We'll have them in 10 years from now. Could have done without the SEC basketball performance over the weekend. 5-8, Arkansas smoked by OU. Ole Miss, as I said, Tiger fans, they're really bad. They didn't even compete against Western Kentucky. And Ben Howland loses yet another big game. And Big Mouth Cal at Cal State Lexington, they got beat as well.
Yep. And tonight we have the Grizzlies versus the 76ers in FedEx Forum at 7 p.m. We're also looking forward to, let's see what else, Bucks versus Celtics, I guess, in the Eastern Conference is the
Suns
other big
at Clippers
game.
late.
Suns at Clippers late. So we're looking forward to that, and also looking
I think
forward
the best
to Monday
game
Night
in the
Football.
NBA is in downtown Memphis.
It might be. We're also looking forward to Monday Night Football, Rams at Cardinals. That'll be on 560 AM, 98.5 FM at 7 p.m. tonight. That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to Michael Cole, to Evan Barnes, to David Cobb for their contributions. Tomorrow, Dave Woloshin, Brent Beard, Drew Hill, Bo Marchant. For Brett, for Bryant, I'm Gabe. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
What makes the holidays so magical? Oddly enough, it's not magic. It happens when something appears right when you need it, like the holiday gifts you ordered and had delivered with the Home Depot app. Or when you can build something out of nothing by watching our holiday how-to videos. Or when you know what an object is just by snapping a photo with image search on our app. These things don't take magic. Nope, you just need the impressive technology behind our app. Make the holidays yours with a little help from the Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get you what you need your way. Get the job done today with our free same-day store pickup. Just order online and pick it up the same day at your local AutoZone. Or get it done tomorrow with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll deliver it to you the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery and eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Flynn